Hello, my name is Rocky Singh Kandola, owner of Hair Maiden India. Welcome to the Hair Maiden's Business Basics course. Really excited to have you guys here today. I want to take away some of these problems y'all are having with bad vendors, bad quality, lost business, horror stories of $10,000, $20,000, even more dollars gone missing with bad business or bad inventory or even miscommunication with you and your supply chain. So today we'll be going over a few little business basics as far as legal filings for your business, entities that you need to create, everything from your accounting, even to your systems and software that you'll be using, even leading up into building a solid, strong marketing program and plan, as well as a budget for that, so you can start to slowly execute your ideas. One thing I like to always tell people is start today. And if you're sitting there saying that no, you can't, I promise you, I'm a living example. Yes, you can. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about myself to start off. My name, once again, is Rocky Singh Kandola. I was born in New York in the Bronx in 1986. I'm currently 34 years old. My entire life, I've done random businesses. I went to college. I graduated from the University of South Alabama. I've done everything from be a tennis coach to be a physician's assistant to working at Pizza Hut and even labor jobs on the Alabama Railroad. Hair Maiden India was born about 10 years ago from an Alabama state prison. My bunkmate and I used to make business plans while sitting there. So one of them was a one-page sheet of paper for Hair Maiden India. It wasn't called Hair Maiden India then, but we were going to sell hair. We used to use a snuck-in cell phone to call his sister, his cousin, and his girl on the outside and find out information about the hair business, such as how much it costs, how much people are paying, what their pain points are, and what we can do to come into this industry and really excel and take the lead. So, after I got out of prison and kind of started changing my life a bit, I wound up in India, and I really wanted to do something besides a lifestyle of drugs, violence, and partying and crazy things I was in before. And I also wanted to be stable, something that could carry me on, something I could pass on to family and friends and create opportunities all over the place. And that's how Hair Maiden India was born. While in India, I came up on this one-page business plan from prison. Started putting it together, driving to meet factories, manufacturers, vendors, all kind of things, which I'm going to get a lot more in detail during some of our upcoming courses about what it actually takes to start a business. I want all of you guys to keep this one thing in mind as you're listening to me and as we go on this journey together. There's always more than one way to do things, especially when it comes to business. The way I did it does work. I have done it myself, and I can tell you all about my experiences. However, it is not the only way. There's so much room to create and enjoy and make this exactly how you want to do it with your life. And those things depend on your budget, your goals, your journey, your time, among other things, which we'll dive more and more into as we go along. But for right now, we're going to dive into the business basics, filing your entities, the legal side, the accounting side, making sure you have your bank accounts, your EINs, and all these little small things when it comes to websites, domains, internet, social media presence, etc., all connected together. Ladies and gentlemen, we're making this course for you guys. Really excited to do this, and it's a serious thing to me because as I've been in this industry, the amount of horror stories, the amount of pain points, the amount of people and older ladies calling me in the middle of the night with a horror story about someone doing them wrong or sending bad quality products to them is just unbelievable. And that's what this story is for. That's what this course is for. We're going to lead you on a journey. We're going to tell you the story. We're also going to give you actual tips and actual tools of the trade that you can use to start properly building a legitimate, long-term, lasting business. So guys, pay attention, strap in, sit back, get your notepads out. Always remember, my name is Rocky. I am available. I work my butt off to be here, and I love doing what I do. So reach out to me, call me, especially if you're excited and you're happy and you just want to learn and know more. You're in the right place. So let's get started. Let's take a quick pause and discuss the strategy moving forward. I'm really proud of you guys for taking that step and going ahead and getting this course. I encourage everybody to at least look at our ultimate course guide as well. We're going to have extra stuff added in and all the basic sections and all the stuff we're about to review now. So before you actually get into the rest of the course, we're going to offer you, I think, about a good percentage off to go ahead and get involved in the ultimate course. It's going to have mentorship guides, one-on-one calls, and all kind of extra features added into all the subtitles and all the courses we're doing you're seeing in front of you. So if you want to take advantage of that and you have questions about it, go ahead and reach out to one of the support team, reach out to myself directly, and we'll be here to talk to you about it and guide you through and let you know what you'd be getting exactly for that ultimate upgrade. Motivation. How to stay motivated during a course like this. First of all, guys, ladies, gentlemen, ask yourself one question. Why are you here? Why did you pay X amount of dollars to be in a course in a class? To learn, to grow, and to develop a business which you'll soon be starting and become very successful in if you follow a few big things. One of the first ones is due diligence, education, and research. That's what you're investing in, and that's what you're doing right now. Not only your money, but your time as well, which is 10 times more valuable. And I promise you that one day soon, you'll understand that concept innately. You'll have it within you. You'll understand what it means. Guys, motivating and inspiring is very, very tough at times, and you have to kind of be motivated and inspired yourself. For me, this business is my baby. I grew it, I loved it, I nurtured it. I went through the bad times, the crazy tough times, the times with tears, sitting in the bathroom pulling my hair out, not knowing what to do, crying every single time I had a bad review or had an argument with a client. And yes, I did have arguments with clients. I went through all that. The way to stay motivated is this: keep the big picture in mind, right? The journey where you're trying to get to is $1 million a year, selling 100 kgs a year with a business and a new car, a new home, right? Whatever the goals are, we all have them. The magic, the fun, the learning, the growth comes on the way to that end point. Keep the big picture, keep your goals in mind, but really learn to be grateful and to expect and prepare for also the ups and downs, which will come. The way to stay motivated during all that, for me, has been reconnecting with myself, nature, and taking the time to show self-love, which is different for everybody. For me, it's going out playing tennis, hopping in my car, driving to the airport, flying to a different destination, and relaxing, and also doing business at the same time. Because for me, progress in my business always keeps me happier, always keeps me smiling, and always makes me feel like I am taking that next step to get to that next level, which we're always going after. For me, I never felt like there is a level that is the end, that's the final goal. It's just always about leveling up, and we can do that every day. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you need that extra little push, extra little inspiration, give me a call. I'm here, 228-596-56. Congratulations. You are a business owner. What do you need to do now? You need to start conducting yourself as one and taking steps and preparing your life and creating your systems and everything around your business as well. For me personally, the identity shift was from playboy, party animal, dope dealer, etc., to successful businessman, and to speaker, and a motivational entrepreneur, etc., etc. This mind shift is something that's going to have to come internally, from your heart, from within you. Whether you are right now working a 9-to-5, running multiple businesses, hustling from a street corner, not doing anything, playing sports, going to school, raising a child, whatever it is that you are doing, there's probably some type of identity you have attached to who you are and what you're doing and what you believe about yourself. When you're a business owner and an entrepreneur and you're taking this new life on, there's going to be a small identity and mind shift coming in with that as well. It'll always happen as long as you are serious and this is what you want going in your business. Now, take that identity shift, take that mind shift, as scary as it may be, and run with it. Hug it, love it, and run with it. This is going to be who you are moving forward, and it's still a part of who you are in the past. However, now you are a responsible business owner. You add value to the marketplace. People and businesses rely on you and your products and your services in order to run their lives or their businesses more efficiently and more smoothly. So put this in your heart. You're a business owner. There's no one that can take that away from you, whether you have made one sale or not have made one sale. You took the leap of faith, you took the risk, and you decided to start this, and you even paid for this class. Congratulations. Do not let anything slow you or stop you down, and trust me when I say this, there is going to be tons of things and tons of excuses and reasons where you can say, forget it, I'm out, I'm done. From what I've learned, most of the time, and it sounds cliche, that second when you think you're done, right around that corner is where there's some magic waiting to be found. So make sure that you're prepared for that. Make sure your heart is open to accept and receive the changes, the shifts, and the different flows that are going to be coming to you as you're running your business. Your family and your friends might look down on you. They might not believe in you. They might laugh at you. Do not worry about it. Be yourself, continue to follow your path, and eventually the recognition will come. And guess what? When it comes, you won't need it. It won't mean anything to you. You won't even feel bad, ill, or intention towards your friends and family that didn't support you in the beginning. Why? Because they're human, we're human. We all have our own courses to follow, and we can all follow them as much as we please. Most of the times, we are the biggest people stopping ourselves from doing the next thing we want to do. And we includes the environment and people you put yourself around. Sometimes you might need to take a break, step away into nature, turn your phone off, disconnect, and really get back in tune with why you're doing what you're doing and who you're doing it for and what you actually want out of it. 9 times out of 10, when you make those connections and you align your heart and your mind together and do this, that mind shift, that intention, that new feeling inside of you is going to come naturally, and it's going to shine for all your clients and all your partners out there. So take a break today. Go out in the nature, get your feet in the sand or the grass, close your eyes, turn your phone off, visualize who it is that you want to be, that you are, that you're going to be with your business, and what you're going to do for the rest of that time. And then open your eyes, get out there, and make it happen by putting in the work every single day. All right, y'all. So I'm going to give you all a quick little overview of what it takes to actually start a business, whether it's day 1, day 5, or you haven't even got a day yet. We're going to go into the small basics and the quick steps that you're going to need in order to start this business. So this is just an overview. We will definitely get much more in detail about all these things later. And trust me, guys, there's a lot of details. So starting off as a business, what do you want to do? We're in the hair business, we're selling products, right? So obviously you need a supply chain, you need a vendor, you need all kind of things in order to sell that product as well, from a website to a brick and mortar, this and that. So there's a couple of decisions you have to make. A few of those in the very beginning are, how do you want to formulate legally? Most people start what's called an LLC, or a limited liability company, which takes away the liability in case you were sued off your personal shoulders and puts it on an entity, which is your LLC. Many people get confused in paying for this. I'm going to tell you right now, do not pay for it. This is something you should do by yourself or with the help of a paralegal or something like that, and we can get more in detail about that later. After a legal entity is all set up, you're going to also want to have a business bank account and an EIN number. The reason for this is because you do not want to commingle your funds. You want to keep your business expenses and income separate from your personal expenses and income. That way you can start tracking it, and eventually if you want to show your results, your progress to a lender or to a bank or to a person that's interested in possibly purchasing your business, you have all these details from day 1 in there. Trust me, guys, do this now. Don't wait on it. Make your systems for keeping your expenses and your income all in one place. 3 or 4 years after I started Hair Maiden India, I had to scramble and go back and do all this, and it was not fun. Very stressful. It costed money paying accountants and getting help, and it was really stressful trying to go back through 3 years of incomes and expenses. So we have your legal framework built, we have your accounting framework built, and remember, this is just the framework, guys. There's a lot of details we can go into. Next, we want to start building a presence for your business in order to be able to start selling and reaching out clients and getting what we call leads. There's many ways to do this. I'm going to speak more about my processes in particular later on in the course. But right now, this is just an overview once again. So whether you're doing a brick and mortar or an online store or a combination of both, these days having a website is extremely important and gives you credibility as well as a place to reach other people that you might not be able to reach before. So if you're doing a brick and mortar, there's many other things you're going to need to take in mind as far as your rent, your insurance, your inventory, your overheads for your expenses for your people that are going to be working for you, as well as miscellaneous things around the office or around the showroom, all of which I'll dive more in detail with you about, since I have also started 2 showrooms of my own. For online sales, which a lot of people are getting into these days, and it's a great platform and field, you also have to do some other things, which is everything from a Google business listing to a Yelp listing to Pinterest ways and everything else out there. I use about 20 different platforms, and trust me, guys, in this industry, even having one lead from one platform is extremely valuable. We are a high ticket industry, and these women and these men that work with hair and do hair expect the best, especially when they're going to charge them a certain price. So I kind of skipped on a little bit on the accounting side, pricing and setting your pricing, and as well as sourcing. Sourcing and finding a vendor is a huge thing these days. You can check out one of my YouTube videos I made that had over 50,000 views and comments on it about women charging for and paying for hair vendors these days. Please listen to me. That is a shortcut that you do not want to take. As I said in our business basics overview video a few videos ago, this business entirely, as well as any other one, relies so much on your due diligence and the effort you put into education and informing yourself, because in turn you'll have to show that to your clients. If you have nothing to give to them there, they're not going to trust you and they're not going to increase sales the way you want to. Finding a vendor is so important, and it's so important not to skip over and jump over it by paying for a list. If you think about it in a common sense fashion, most women who have a vendor, quote unquote, that are doing well, why would they want to just give that away or sell it? They would continue running that business unless they got tired of it or something like that. What I'm trying to say is there might be some people out there really trying to help you out, giving you a good connection to a quote unquote vendor or a supply chain. However, that is not doing you too much help. You don't need to just find one person and stick with them. You don't need to find just me and stick with me. Do your due diligence. Talk to vendors, talk to owners, talk to manufacturers, find out what their systems are, find out who their labor are, when they work, what their holidays are, what their family life is like, and who this person that you're going to do business and give potentially tons of business to in the future, over hundreds of thousands of dollars, your money to. So I'll get much more in detail about the vendor search later on. I could do a whole series on that almost. Moving forward, after you have your social media, your website, your thing set up, you're going to want to start marketing. Hair Maiden India, we started with paid ads at about $1 a day, and I did shows about 7 or 8 a year, everything from Bronner Brothers to IBS to the Premier Beauty Show to tons of small ones all on the Gulf Coast and the East and the West Coast of America. These shows are incredibly important to not only to get out there and meet your clients, but to give you some confidence, to show you that, hey, you have a business, you're proud about it, you can speak about it, and you're willing to get out there in the marketplace and share with the market the value you have to offer. So y'all, I went over a few things as far as overviews in going into business. As I said, there's so many details to hop into that we're going to have a private video for each one of those small steps I hit. And beyond there, we're going to deal with everything from chargebacks, which means you need to pick the right payment processor and merchant system to accept payments in your business. Otherwise, we're into major problems down the road. I'll do a video about this, but I have a $12,000 problem from 4 years ago where I didn't protect myself good enough that I've now learned from that is still kind of haunting me to this day. I'm still working on clearing it, and things are moving properly now that I've understood and know what to do. But back then, I wish I had someone like myself to tell me, Rocky, don't do this, protect yourself, make sure you're using the right processing systems. It's small tips like that, guys, that people understand end up making or breaking a business. I've had many people tell me of one fraudulent transaction for $4,000 or $5,000 that came at the wrong time, and they couldn't afford to pay their rent at their brick and mortar anymore. So once again, this course is made for you all, for the troubles we're having in business, for the fact that no one else seems to want to help out hair vendors and people starting businesses. And we're going to come together and do that here on this course together. Y'all, so once again, sit back, pay attention, take notes. Always reach out in our personal inboxes or phone numbers that you have as being part of the course, and we're here to help you out extra. See you in the next video. Peace. We're going to be talking about how to set your business up for you personally. So 2 things. 1, we have a side hustle, and 2, we have a business. Both are legitimate, both will bring you money in, both can be created and crafted to have the business and life that you want. One thing you must know before going in and getting started, at the very least with me, and most likely with most businesses that you start, is which one do you want? Do you want a side hustle that'll provide extra income to your bank accounts and what you already have running? Or are you looking to make this a legitimate business that you'll move forward with for the rest of your life and possibly your families and friends' lives as well? The reason for that is this: the time that you put in will vary greatly between the two. As a side hustle, this business is still great. I have homeboys right now that still call me whenever they have someone that wants to buy hair and just say, hey Rob, I got a girl, she's a friend of mine, I met her, she wants to buy some hair. I thought, why not buy it from you and make a little money? They call me and say, hey Rocky, I need 3/18s. Can you give me your wholesale price so I can make a couple $100 in the middle? Of course, not a problem at all. I work with people like that, and there's tons of people out there that do it. This is a totally legitimate way to do your business. It's a totally legitimate way to hustle, side hustle. I would go as far as calling it a business, but I have many people that would disagree with me. A side hustle to me is still a form of business. However, like I said, the distinguishing factor that we're going to make is the time and most likely the money that you're going to put into it. When you're working with me in a wholesale business sense and you're going for the long term, we're going to just sit down and build your systems, your accounting, your inventory, and everything really properly. If you're doing a side hustle, you just need my number. Give me a call. Do with the time you have. You're running a business. You have so many things to do. You're not sure about what to spend time on and what to do and how much to do. And you have a job. You have a kid. You have a family life. You have a social life. You have this and that going on. What do you do with your time? So, first of all, time management is key in running a life that you want, being an entrepreneur, and successfully scaling a business. You definitely want to learn how to manage your time and organize your time. What do you want to do and what do you need to do right now with your time? So, first of all, no excuses. If you have a kid, if you have a 9-to-5, plus you're going to school, and you want to start a business, guess what? Nobody forced you to do it. Nobody said you had to start a business. You took the leap of faith, you're ready to do it. So now it's time to man up, to woman up. Go ahead and take that responsibility and do it. So you're working 9-to-5, from 5 to 7 you got to take care of your kids, from 7 to 9 you have to put food on the table. Guess what? You have from 9 a.m. until whenever you wake up and start the next day to work on your business. Whether that's half an hour or 3 hours, it's valuable. So you need to start learning what to do with that time. Something I did in the very beginning was I made a Gmail account, a Google account, and I would create my Google Chrome browser whenever I opened it to open up very certain tabs, 10 to 15 of them. They were everything from Facebook to LinkedIn, to my website backend, to my PayPal account, to my bank account, to just a blog page that I was writing on back then, to LinkedIn, to Pinterest, to all of that. I would open them up and I would just touch base on every single one of these tabs for 5 to 10 minutes. In the beginning, I had no idea what I was doing on them. I would just, add a picture, add a post, add information, do whatever I could to feel like I was doing something on them. And I kind of felt crazy, like I was running in circles. Eventually, though, I started to learn patterns. I started to learn where my time was best used, where I got the most return on my time. And I would just multiply and double down on those things. That is one of my biggest rules in business and something I implement on a daily basis. When I see something working, guaranteed working in front of my face, I double down immediately. Always, immediately. If it works, double down on it. If it doesn't work, the most you're going to lose is that double profit that you had and you start back over again. But always double down in those areas that you do find to be working very well. So we're going to be talking about what you need to do ASAP right now. So guys, we sell hair. Right, as we're building this business, as we're going through this course, as we're building even step 1 from your legal entity or business bank account, let's start selling some hair. If you're out there trying out vendors, pulling out hair, I applaud you. That's awesome. That's a huge, big first step. However, I encourage you to take one step further. Instead of buying just a sample bundle from some of these people, go ahead and buy a set that you could possibly sell. So say you wanted to reach out to a vendor and say, hey, let me try a couple of your pieces. Let me have a 10-inch straight and a 10-inch deep curl. Cool. You're going to take those, you're going to color them, you're going to cut them, you're going to test them, you're going to put all kind of pressure on them and see what they do. At the same time, I encourage you to go ahead and say, reach out to someone in your circle, friends, family, even on Instagram or Facebook, message them and say, hey, I have a deal for you. I have 3 18-inch bundles in a certain texture. I saw your pictures and I think it will look beautiful on you for a style. If you want to try it out, I would love to give you a little discount code for in turn shouting me out on Instagram, or even just for making a small video that you can use later on for your promotional needs. This is going to do a lot of things for you. It's going to show you how to sell. It's going to make you feel what it actually feels like to sell this product, and you're going to get automatic feedback from people. Now, a lot of people worry, oh my God, what if the hair is not good? What if this happens? What if that happens? Don't worry about it. What if my branding and marketing isn't on point? They don't remember me? Don't worry about it. Sell them some hair, and then stand up behind that. If your client doesn't like it, the person you sold them hair to, and you spent $100 on these samples, and in turn sold it to them for $150, say, right? Stand behind it. If it's not good, take that money back. You don't need that money. That is bad money. That's not money you want to keep in your pocket. And in all honesty, it's not money that you made a valid exchange for in the marketplace and put value in, right? You're trying it out. You're in the beginning of your business. That will never, listen to me on this, that will never stop someone from working with you. In fact, some of the people I've had to give returns to in the beginning when I had problems are still my clients to this day. They tried other people, they came back to me, and they stuck with me because I stood up for myself and for my business and provided them the value, the service, and the products that they needed. So right now, guys, if you're getting on step 1 and you're looking to file your LLC and you're looking to get your business bank account, I once again encourage you, start today. Start selling some hair. Even if it's a bundle or 2, even if it's for your friend circle or family circle, and write it down, take notes on it. One thing that someone that I pay a lot of attention to, that a lot of people in marketing do as well, Gary Vaynerchuk. He says document everything, and that is such a cool thing to do. I always started maybe 3 to 4 years ago documenting a lot, meaning for my travels, my discussions with you all, my discussions with partners, with other hair vendors, with manufacturers at the temples. And the only thing I wish is I did that 7 years ago, because that part of the journey, some of the grittiest parts, for me, I don't have recorded. I have a lot of notes I've taken, which I will share eventually as well, but I don't have it recorded. So if you have the chance to start from nothing, from absolutely nothing, day 1 on business, and you're trying samples, and you have the courage to take that leap of faith and actually make some sales, you, my friend, you are going to be successful. And I encourage everybody to give that a shot. Once again, get started ASAP, make some sales. If you need more help with that, reach out to one of us in our private messenger inboxes, and we'll see what we can do to help you get started. All right, so moving right along, we're going to jump into how to choose a name. So for Hair Maiden India, my name actually got picked while sitting in an apartment in Gurgaon, India, brainstorming. And I've actually started a few companies just like this. So I started thinking about what it is I'm selling, the product I have, and what the motivation and the spirit behind it is. For us at Hair Maiden India, we sell raw virgin hair extensions, right? Hair that hasn't been touched. So we use maiden, such as your mother's maiden name, meaning before she was married, to kind of imply the virgin sense of it. Hair Maiden India. As you can see, it's a play on words because our hair is also, quote unquote, made in India. One thing I tell people is don't get super caught up on your name. It's definitely important. You definitely want to have a few key factors in there. One is you want to make it really clear on what it is that you do, right? So if you're selling hair, you don't want to be called, Yellow Bowl Enterprises or something like that, right? You can, people have done it. You see it a lot in the Chinese market, and usually that comes from other entities and other companies that were kind of segueing or transitioning into a hair business. However, it is important to have something like hair or beauty or something in there that's kind of directing people and letting them know what you do when they just read your company. Secondly, you don't want to go too crazy, too long. You want to think about how you're going to fit this name into your posters, your designs, your flyers, your branding, even your website. When it comes down to websites, the name of your business is really important as well, because when you type in certain keywords into your search bar for your URL such as hair, those are going to rank higher. They're also going to be seen higher as far as Google goes, and you're going to have more authority for that domain. I learned most of this marketing and domain stuff as I grew with Hair Maiden India in the very beginning. So I'll be sharing a lot more advice about how to pick the domain and the name and everything like that as we go more in details. For now, think of something, brainstorm, sit down with a friend or a family member or by yourself and start talking. Hair Maiden, hair sales, beauty industry supplier, hair plug, diamond hair, different things like that until you find out what really fits and feels right to you. The name is actually really important. It is something that's going to register you as a company, but I promise you, if you sit down, breathe, think about it, and find something that really fits well with your heart, it's going to be something that lasts with you for a lifetime. Quick and easy. Let's move on. All right, so a few more quick tips about choosing the name. Guys, always remember that the name is important. It is going to be your company name. However, it shouldn't be something that stops you or slows you down from going ahead and getting started on selling business or selling hair in your business. You can always sell hair and just say you're selling it from yourself right now and you're developing a business and a name around it. One good thing to remember, it was my story from Hair Maiden India. Hair Maiden India, actually, when I started the name, it was like basically just a brainstorm talk. We were saying hair virgin, hair maiden, India, Indian hair, this and that, until Hair Maiden India, with the play on words, maiden meaning virgin, came about. Now, when I was thinking about this name, I also realized that Hair Maiden India is very specific. It's going to say hair and India. We're doing Indian hair. And it's really hard to sell other things sometimes underneath that same. So in my mind, I always wanted to expand. I wanted to do all kind of imports and trading from Southeast Asia, from India, different areas, and bring those products and goods and services to America, where I feel like there's so many beautiful products around the world that people in America sometimes don't get to see because simply lack of the ability to travel, or sometimes people just don't care. But there's beautiful cultures out there with amazing things, and that's why I made Red Dot Imports LLC. A lot of people have given me a little bit of crap for it because Red Dot is, as you know, Red Dot Indian or Feather Indian. That's kind of like the joke, or the way to kind of classify which type of Indian you are in America many times. So, instead of being called Red Dot all my life growing up, I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and make a company around it. And Red Dot Imports LLC was born in order to do imports from all over Asia and all over India. So that's kind of like why I did that, so I could always keep the Red Dot Imports as a large enough entity to be able to incorporate other brands such as Hair Maiden India and Manali Tea Company underneath it. So yeah, keep that in mind when you're making your name as well. And always go for something that lets your client and your customer know what is going on and what you do. Don't make it harder for them to actually have to figure out, what it is you do. So if you're selling hair or beauty, don't make it, Ajax Products 101 or something weird like that. Just make it something that's actually in your industry, in your business, so people don't have a difficult time figuring out who you are and what it is that you actually do. And also, it is a personal and business decision whether or not to have one entity with brands underneath it, such as DBAs underneath an LLC, or to just do one period. If you're picking a broad enough name to do one period, you can go ahead and pick one. Red Dot Imports LLC could have been my hair company, but I really like the way Hair Maiden India sound. I love the play on words, and I wanted to keep them both because I wanted to be flexible enough under Red Dot Imports to sell shampoos, conditioners, and all kind of other different products such as handmade jewelry, handmade gowns and clothing for weddings in India, all kind of different things. So yeah, don't get too caught up and slow down on whether or not you should pick one or two. I would say if you have one good broad name, go ahead and use that. If for some reason you want to set up our structure, the footsteps I did were this. I first needed to get a name, right? So I came up with Hair Maiden India. When I was actually going to the legal side and structuring it, I did want something loose enough to be, able to be importing anything in the future. So I chose Red Dot Imports LLC. Now, first I operated like this for a while. However, when it came to filing registrations with Facebook to get verified and other advertising agencies, I needed to have legal documentation for the words Hair Maiden India. Even though I already had a trademark on it, I then needed to get a DBA. That DBA is registered underneath Red Dot Imports LLC. So the DBA Hair Maiden India is owned by Red Dot Imports LLC, which is in turn owned by me. I'm a sole proprietor owner with 100% stake into my company. So yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. Once again, to reiterate, don't let it slow you down. Go ahead and pick a name. Go ahead and start selling hair while you're picking that name, and let it flow. Brainstorm, play around with it, talk to friends about it. Don't be so scared that someone will steal it from you. It doesn't usually happen like that, especially when it comes from within your soul and within your heart after you take the time to brainstorm and really think on it. This process shouldn't honestly take more than a couple of days to a couple of weeks at the very most of kind of playing around with it in your head, deciding one. I believe for me, the name Hair Maiden India came within a day or two, and Red Dot Imports LLC came on the spot. When I needed to have an LLC name, it didn't take me more than 10 minutes to be like, you know what, that just goes with me. It flows with my past, my history, what I've been through, and what I'm doing with that past and that history now. So once again, y'all, go ahead and get started. Pick a name. If you need extra help, make sure to reach out to us in your support inbox or give us a call directly. And we'll be more than happy to run some brainstorming ideas back and forth with you and bounce some ideas around. You might be feeling overwhelmed with LLCs, DBAs, EINs, and all the extra terminology that comes when starting a business as far as the legal terms go. I'm here to tell you it's not as hard as you think it is. Take a nice deep breath and just listen to me. In the beginning, on top of conducting market research, picking your business location, and funding your business, legally speaking, there are a few steps you need to take to ensure your business is set for the future. First, there's two options. Obviously, we have a DBA, which is known as a doing business as, and we have an LLC, which is a limited liability company. The biggest difference in an LLC and a DBA is going to come down to your protection. A DBA can be actually registered as any fictitious name, a business name. You can even use your own name. If you choose to use your name, you don't even need a DBA. So for example, if your name is Jane Smith and you were selling your hair as Jane Smith and putting in your Jane Smith accounts, there's no reason to file a DBA. You'd just be taxed as a sole proprietor with income taxes, etc. Now, if you're to file an LLC, then that becomes your entity, your corporation, your company, which would then be taxed either based on LLC basis, or if you want to file as an S Corp, you can file like that as well. That's something we'll get much more in detail later on. However, for right now, you need to pick one. DBA costs are much lower and have much lower fees going forward. LLCs are a bit higher. Keep in mind this varies everywhere from state to state. So each LLC you file in every state, you'll have to run a check with that state to make sure the LLC isn't there, and etc. and etc. With a DBA, you can actually get started right away, and you can even get a federal ID EIN tax number with just a DBA. So if you're starting off right now and you don't have the expense or the time to do anything as far as the LLC formulation goes, start a DBA. It should be about 50 to 100 bucks, maybe less than that, on most state websites. You can go there, pick a name, and start right away. As you move along and you get to the point where you're ready to file an LLC, which might cost you anywhere from a couple hundred all the way up to $1,000, depending on the filing fees in your state and how you want to do it, it's another bridge to cross at that point. You're going to want to reach out to an accountant or tax professional, as well as either call me or someone that's in the legal field as a paralegal to kind of discuss your strategy and legal options and accounting and tax options moving forward. But for right now, pick one, DBA or LLC, get it registered, start it, and let's start selling some hair. Remember, while you're formulating all this stuff, while you're making your business plan, stay in the market, stay in touch, do your research, and make some sales. Do you need an LLC for your new business? The short answer is no. You actually do not need an LLC for your business. You can operate directly as a sole proprietor under your name or a DBA filing a fictitious name in your state. There are a couple drawbacks if you're not going to file an LLC. The first one obviously is the liability. If you get sued or things happen wrong in your company, that liability falls on your shoulders. The second is a lack of a structure and organization. You're not going to have the articles of incorporation and the structure of your company. However, you can always write this down, keep it in your business plan, and prepare for a later purchase of an LLC. Third, you're going to have limited funding options available. When you're looking for funding and you're looking for investors or partners, you're going to want to have a proper business plan, corporation filings, everything all set in stone and proper, so the people that you're working with are looking to get assistance from know you're a proper business, you're solid, and you're going to be here for the long term. Another big factor is the proprietary name. If you do not form an LLC and you choose a name and further down the road someone else decides that name, they're going to have the rights to that name before you, even though you started your business earlier. Now, there are some good sides of doing a DBA and getting started quickly. Obviously, the first is the quickness of getting started and the ease. There's not much to do. Thirdly, it's very inexpensive compared to LLC, maybe 1/5 of the cost to file a DBA. But guys, we're talking about the differences between $10 and $50 to $500 here to get your business legally started. So, once again, you do not need to start an LLC. However, I do strongly recommend to go ahead and get one. If not, put on the plans to get one sooner than later. Let's get a little bit of clarity on the different business structures as well as the different tax entities you can file and the way you can formulate your company. So in the beginning, we have what is most common, which is easiest to do, is a DBA. Now, if you're going to use your same name for your business as you have as your name, then you don't need to file a DBA. However, if your name is Jane Smith and you want to file for Sally's Hair Extensions, you'll definitely need to file a DBA or a fictitious name with your state in order to do so. That is the first level, first step. Any liability that happens with that company falls on your shoulders, and you're also taxed as a sole proprietor. For an LLC, you'll also be taxed as a sole proprietor if you choose the default taxation methods. LLC is a way to structure your company. A lot of people get confused on this, but an S Corp is actually a way you file taxes. It's not the way you structure your company. So you can have an LLC and file your company's taxes as an S Corp. What that does, in a very, very basic sense, it allows you to be an employee of your own business and pay yourself a reasonable amount for the work that you do. Versus at an LLC, you don't have those options. And a DBA, it gets even looser. So LLC, DBA, S Corp, these are all important things to know and understand moving forward in your business. However, the basic differences are very easy, and in the beginning, you simply need to pick either a DBA or a LLC, which are the two most favored types of businesses, structures for small businesses. Pick one, let's get started. Once you get to the tax brackets and making more profits and having employees, etc., we can get much more into detail about which structure is right for your company, as well as which type of tax structure you need to file. All right, so how do you actually formulate your LLC? Obviously, there's two ways to do it. One, you can pay someone to do it, such as a lawyer. This will range anywhere from $400 to up without the filing fees. This is strictly for their time. You're going to pay a lawyer. Secondly, you can do it on your own. Now, secondly, doing it on your own is not very difficult. I know it's a legal document, and a lot of people get scared, especially in the U.S., because legalities are so diluted and confusing many times. An LLC is pretty straightforward and simple. You're going to first choose your name for your LLC and reserve it by checking on that state's website that you're looking to form in to make sure that no one else has this name. Then you're going to choose what's called a registered agent. You can be a registered agent or statutory agent, or you can have someone else do it for you. This person is going to receive lawsuits, subpoenas, and other official documents and be the person on record when and if those items or documents come through to your business. Then you're going to need to prepare an LLC operating agreement. It's basically just a roadmap of how your LLC will be run, and it makes a few specifics on there, and sometimes even implements your business plan into it. Next, you're going to be doing this from your state's website, and it will be different, guys, in every state depending on where you are. I can discuss this deeper in my masterclass. However, there are some very good options to pick tax havens in America to save quite a bit of money when filing an LLC, and you don't have to pick the state that you're in. So moving right along, we're going to need your name, address, length of existence, the registered agent, and what the LLC will actually be doing in order to file this paperwork. From there, you're going to file it, obtain a certificate, and if you need to, you'll be registering to do business in other states as well. Now, y'all, this information is all readily available. I told you, make sure you check .gov websites when you're doing your research. Don't just take my word for it. Make sure you put effort and research, and also learning the ways people explain in not doing these things. It really helps you understand moving forward and be confident moving forward in your business, helping others as well as growing different businesses also. So that's the quick basic steps to form an LLC. Once again, I always recommend that if you're looking to do this and you're not sure what to do, you reach out to me or my team that have all had experience doing this and get some personalized one-on-one help within this course. Thank y'all so much. An EIN number. What is it? What is it all about? An EIN number is basically an employee identification number. It is very similar to your social security number. It is a 9-digit number that is given to the IRS and that will classify you as a business entity. If you look at the websites online and you're looking for research and reviewing, this is a really, really good pointer and tip I have for you. Always make sure that the sources that you're looking for are credible. Me personally, when I look for this information to go back to the basics and really explain to my clients and to my friends and other businesses what is needed, I go to sites such as irs.gov or sba.gov. Two things. One, these are verified sites that are government domain entities, meaning they have .org or .gov. Usually .gov is the best one to go for, and their advice is given to you directly from the IRS and from the federal government, so make sure you're going to be in all the guidelines. Now, do you have to have an EIN in the beginning? No, you do not. I do strongly recommend it. It is free, and I will show you how to get it. So if you're ready to get one, go ahead and do it now. Watch the next videos. How do you get your EIN number for your business? Guys, this is a very, very simple thing to do. If you look online, there's many services out there quoting anywhere from a couple to $100 to get you an EIN number. The process is very simple. You simply go to the irs.gov website. We'll actually add links to all this information in the literature for the course, so you have it all there at your fingertips. But you're going to go there and you're going to apply for your EIN just like that. If you already have your LLC set up, you're going to put your LLC information in there. If not, you're going to put your information in there directly, and you'll get your EIN number within minutes directly to your email. That simple. Please don't pay for it, y'all. We have come to the point where we are deciding whether or not we want a website. Do you actually need a website for your business? There's so much speculation and talk about this. I think the general part of the community is moving towards, yes, you do need a website for your business these days, whether you're brick and mortar or whether you are local or whether you're online for the world. My personal opinion is yes, why not? These days we have a plethora of options out there, from Shopify to Wix to Big Cartel, whatever the main ones are, and WordPress. We use WordPress personally as well as Shopify. Some of these sites offer startups from as low as $4 to $10 a month for a basic site to at least have your information on there. And some of them even have free options and alternatives as well. What a website does for you is this: it automatically gives you a quote-unquote landing page or a quote-unquote brick and mortar for your business, whether you have one or not. It gives a legitimized central place for any clients, potential or regular, to come check out who you are, what you're about, and what you're putting out there to the world. Yes, you can do it on social media, you can brand. There's tons of apps out there, from QuickBooks to Invoice Now to Invoice ASAP, where you can send invoices and even use marketing tools for them online. However, having a website and a centralized place to pull in leads and even have email signups and phone number call-ins from that is invaluable. Whether you are starting a barbershop in a small town where everyone knows everybody, or you are looking to reach out to the world with a product or service-based business, websites are not expensive and are key in putting yourself out there these days. So my quick answer to that is yes, put a website out there. Do not, I repeat, do not make it an insurmountable, huge, long task. I have been with Hair Maiden now for 7 years, and I started the website myself then, and I'm still updating it and fixing it every single day. It is part of the business, is part of the journey. I didn't have $25,000 to pay an amazing developer back then to do it, and to be honest, I don't have a $25,000 budget right now to give to a developer, especially when now I put the much work in and it's not needed. So quick and short answer to summarize: get a website, pick a domain name. They cost between $1 and $10 a year. It's your name forever. It'll give you domain authority to that address and give you a physical address for your business and for people to come check you out. Real quickly, guys, just to reiterate and clarify, I do not want anybody to stop selling or slow down in their business solely to make a website. The website is something you will continuously work on during your journey. In the beginning, you just want to set it up even as a landing page, or what they call a splash page, that has your information, a contact sign up form, and a nice little picture about your business, and possibly a paragraph about what is to come at that website address. So once again, y'all, do not stop selling. Do not make the website such a large feature that it slows down everything else. Do it in process, work on it continuously, and reach out to others for support. All right, so you have a name for your business, you filed some legal documents and got your accounting together, and you want to pick a website name, what is called a domain name. There's a few pretty good tips as far as picking a domain. Some of the biggest ones are: keep it small, keep it short, keep it easy to pronunciate, easy to remember, stick with a .com ending versus a .edu or .org. Avoid too many double letters such as double L's or double I's within that domain name, and always leave room to further later on expand onto that if you want to. So say, it was hairbeautybusiness.com and you wanted to make it one day, hair beauty business lashes or something, or add something into it. Keep yourself available and open for that. Where to register your domain. A lot of people get confused and go on to different sites and different offers and this and that. That's thanks to the amazing world of marketing we have out there and so many different platforms to choose things on. I use GoDaddy. Some people use something called domain.com, different ones. What you need to know is that every registrar is not built the same. Some have different features as far as managing your domain, your cPanel, and different things like that, which aren't going to be huge deals in the beginning. But as you move forward and add plugins and add different things and different usability to your site and need to upgrade it, you will need a decent domain management system if you're doing it on your own, or at the very least, a very good web developer paid to understand these things and take care of them. Picking your actual domain name, once again, use the tips I told you. Hair Maiden India, that is our name as well as our domain. We actually got lucky on that. Many times people will pick a name and that domain is not available. From that point, I would really talk to some close advisors around you, myself, people that work with a lot of websites, and pick and choose your name carefully. Use the tips I told you. Check out GoDaddy, see what's available, and talk to your friends, talk to your circles. Hopefully you can talk it in this group here at our Hair Maiden India Mastermind business course and get some more tips and tools and tricks to start your
What does hosting mean? What is it all about? Why do I keep getting all these random names thrown at me for the internet? So let me break it down for you really simple. The domain is your street address, where your website is parked at. That is your domain name. That is your physical street address, your home that you own, that no one else in the world ever can own as long as you don't sell it. Hosting is going to be basically how your home gets electricity, water, power, stays online, and is able to be shown to the world. At the end of the day, there's a couple of different types of hosting, everything from dedicated hosting to cloud hosting to server hosting. All this stuff gets very, very in-depth and detailed. The biggest thing for you to know is it's not really that important. You do need a hosting service. If it's a budget thing, figure out the best one for the best price for you and get started. You can always switch your hosting later. The difference in pricing is this when it comes to hosting. Some servers allocate more bandwidth and more data, which means that more people can be in your site with watching more videos and pictures at a time than other sites. So obviously if you're going to have 100 videos and 10,000 people on your site a day, you're going to have hosting that is equivalent to that. In the beginning, most likely you won't have that. So pick a host, pay them, and get it started. We'll probably add links to the bottom of this in our literature with a couple of different sites you can use for hosting. We use GoDaddy as well. They provide a very secure, easy process that's a little bit higher than most people. However, we're comfortable with them and we can afford them, and it works out very nicely. Basically, your hosting provider is going to be holding your files on a server to serve to the world. And whenever people need to access those servers, they're going to be using their servers wherever their hosting is located. It might be in a bank of large underground computers in Montana, but that's where your files and your home is going to be parked and located and be served to the world. So pick your host, pick your domain, your website's good to go. Let's get started.
Which platform are you going to build your website on? Shopify, Wix, WordPress, Squarespace. There's so many options out there these days. When you're researching this, the biggest things you want to make sure are what it is that you want of that site. A lot of these platforms and programs, you can go to their website, Shopify and Wix, and see the key points of what they offer versus what their competitors offer for the different pricing categories and ranges. One thing people get caught up on a lot is picking a platform and being scared to choose it, myself personally. A big thing is that you can do on websites people don't know is something called HTML. HTML stands for, I believe, Hypertext Markup Link. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's right. HTML is what all websites are built on in the back end, or most of them usually are. You can actually take copies of your site and transform that to any domain, any kind of provider you want, any platform you want. You're not going to lose your work, basically. So keep in mind you can be very flexible on that. WordPress is what I use currently right now, which offers the most creativity and options in creating your website as far as plugins and changing it to custom code it exactly how you want. There's plugins available, and keep in mind all these plugins are usually yearly fees, between $50 to $150 a year, depending on what you want that plugin to do. A plugin is basically just like it sounds, something you plug in your website to get functionality out of it. So one plugin that we use a lot is called Yoast. Yoast is SEO. It's search engine optimization. Basically, it's all the keywords you're going to put in your website that's going to allow people on Google to find you. Yoast is a plugin that you pay a yearly fee for that helps you do that automatically and gives you little small tools and tricks to be able to do it even better. Shopify and Wix have templates built into them as well. That means the way your home, the way your address, where your domain is parked is going to look. You can have very simple sales templates to informative templates. Wix and Shopify, even WordPress, all provide these, some for free, some at a cost. The biggest thing when it comes to choosing your platform is, to be honest, choosing one.
you're doing product sales, you know that you want to have a site builder that allows you to have a shopping cart built in. With WordPress, we use WooCommerce. Other people use OpenCart or different variations as well, all of which will tie in no matter which platform you end up using. People such as Zapier, which is a company that connects different platforms to each other, have become very innovative and open up the market for people to be able to use all platforms and transform between them as they please when they see fit. So don't get caught up on it. Pick one, especially if you're going at it on your own. I would recommend starting off with Shopify or Wix. They're very simple, easy to use, drag and drop type builders. If you're ready to take that next step and go to WordPress, you're gonna have to do a little bit more research, a little bit more studying, but it is not that hard once you get the hang of it. And the big thing about it, before you're even thinking about hiring a developer or anything else, is learning this stuff on your own. I have a basic understanding of every website platform out there, from ClickFunnels to Wix to Squarespace to WordPress. And I spent a lot of time learning and understanding WordPress as well. I am by no means an expert, but I know what to ask and what to say and what I need done from a developer if and when I so choose to hire one. Now, after 7 years in business, 3 years ago, I finally hired a developer that works with my company on a full-time basis, part-time basis in the night times. He's actually a VA named Cyril from the Philippines. He does an amazing job updating our stuff for us. But it took me 5 years of working on myself to totally understand and know how to, quote unquote, manage my developer and get him working on the things I needed done for our website right away. If you want more information on this, or you have somewhat of a plan put together and want a couple more tips or details, or just some assurance that you're doing the right thing, send us the email to our inbox. I'll be more than happy to help you.
A web developer to work on your business website. This is a very good question and a very important question as well. Let me tell you about me personally. When I first started working on Hair Maiden India's website, I knew a little bit about what to do. I knew how to get a domain. I knew how to do very basic HTML coding from being a kid and going to Alabama School of Math and Science, where I learned how to make websites at a young age. Developers do a couple key things on your website that you can't do. A lot of that comes down to custom coding, which is the stuff that, quote unquote, you cannot do without a huge learning curve. In the beginnings of setting up your domain, making all the connections, all the small things that run the back end of your site, I highly encourage you to YouTube, to Google, and to learn this stuff on your own. So if you ever do get to a point where you want to hire a developer and you have the budget for it and you feel like it's needed, when small things happen in case they're not available or in case you don't want to bug them with this or you need to get it done fast, you know how to do it on your own. Those things can be from something as small as a new plugin that was added causing the website to crash and all you have to do is go in and deactivate it, to making a new headliner page for a sale you have coming up tomorrow that you want everyone to come to your website to see. This stuff can be done in seconds, and you'll be surprised how many people pay developers $100 an hour to work on simple things. Not many developers are going to tell you that it takes them seconds to do it, because in essence, they want you to pay for not how long it took them to do a task that you want them to do, but how long they have studied for it and done it in the past, which could be 10 years, which is actually the way it should be, which is also why, as a business owner, you need to know how to do certain things. When it comes to the point you're ready for a developer, you're gonna know enough to be able to ask the right questions, to be able to feel them out the right way, and understand if they can do what you need to get done, and if they're gonna be good enough to work with you for your company. In the beginning, developing websites, it is tough. There is a small learning curve, but it's nothing that any one of you out there cannot do with a couple hours of your time a week and a YouTube video. You can definitely get started that way, and eventually your developers can come in and tweak it and make it and change it as much as you'd like. In the beginning, if you know what was done, you'll know what changes were made, and you'll understand the process behind it and know when anything goes wrong. Another thing you want to be sure about when you're talking to your developer and you're hiring them is make sure you're not working with any kind of third-party company that would, in the small fine print, take rights to your website and own, in part, your website and the work done on it. That is always a no-no. You do not want anyone else owning any part of your business website or your business period unless they're contributing time-wise or money-wise. You are paying this developer to do a task, and that is where their task ends. Domains in your websites are really important. Once again, I'd like to reiterate, do not let this slow you down on sales. Keep selling, keep moving forward. I've worked with at least 5 or 10 different developers in different capacities. I've even hired one full-time that I could never get in touch with, that could never get things done right, that we had a pretty big misunderstanding on a lot of things with. Since then, I've actually learned how to speak with developers in different countries, not only because I speak the language myself in those countries, but because I understand that
this is business and it's relationships, and it comes down to communication. The way I speak with you and the way we speak with each other might go right over the top of someone's head from the Philippines or Southeast Asia. You need to learn to change your wording and change the way you speak a little bit, enough to be able to for the person you're speaking with to understand fully what you need. That was definitely one mistake I made in the beginning, one that I'm actually very good at now, and that I speak to my developer in the Philippines on a regular basis, telling them what I need done on the site. I now pay, I believe, a company roughly $500 a month to have their developer work on my site 3 hours a night, 5 days a week. And I'll be frank with you, there are multiple things that come up that I ask him to do that I know I can do within 10 or 15 minutes. I finally made it to the point where that 10 or 15 minutes of my time is not valuable to me working on that website. It's better for me and for my efficiency to have my developer do this and for me to focus on other things with the business. I was not like this in the beginning. I would take the hours, I would watch the YouTube videos, and I would fix it myself until I understood it. Now when I need something fixed that I understand, I can hand it off to the developer and double check and make sure you did it properly, all in seconds. So many pros, many cons in hiring a developer. One of the biggest factor is this, plain and simple. Do you have the budget for it? Not meaning do you have the $10,000 they want, but do you have that $10,000 plus your inventory, plus your bills, plus your marketing covered and ready to go? If you do, and you hire the right developer, and you guys are in tune, aligned, understand what you need from each other, then I would say yes, 100% developer is a great idea, even in the beginning, if you have the budget. If not, later on, as you move forward, you personally will know within a couple of years how much you need a developer, in what capacity you need a developer, and how much you're willing to pay for this small amount of work to be done. To choose a good vendor. Many people fall short on this area very frequently. So, when choosing a vendor, what do you want to do? What do you not want to do? The first thing I would suggest people not to do, which I see so much, is going straight to AliExpress and Amazon and just randomly picking them. You definitely don't want to do that. You want to be able to be reaching out to ownership or people with direct phone numbers that are verified and credible. If someone's using a throwaway phone and a random email address and you don't know much about them or their company, I would say that's definitely a red flag and not to use them. It is difficult to find reputable vendors these days, and there's so many people on the market. One thing people don't understand, and one thing that I would like to express very greatly, and this is definitely an insider tip, is many of these companies that you're seeing out there with different names are all part in different groups of umbrella companies. Many of them are based in China, and all they do is, hire 10 people, get a couple on Instagram, get a couple on the phone lines, underneath the same hair in the same company with a different name. So definitely keep in mind that in mind. Secondly, you want to go ahead and start making a list of vendors. I have thousands in my lists and folders. I have literature, everything from printed material to on my laptop as well. And I have researched, spoke with, and tested many of these people. That is definitely a process that you do not want to skip over. You want to do the research, find that list yourself, and for free. Don't go around paying for lists. Most of the time, those lists are people you can find pretty easily with a little bit of research on your own. Now, how do you know if they're reputable? Many times in this business, hair specifically, the reputation of hair vendors and businesses is very skewed and very shady, kind of hard to figure out what's actually going on, which is why it's more important when you're connecting your supply chain to make sure you have a solid contact within that company that actually understands the entire process, from the labor to the sourcing to the manufacturing to the factory basics and inventory and costs to run that factory. Someone that is actually either there, present themselves, and can communicate you very well, or that is going back and forth. Choosing a vendor, once again, is very important. I do not suggest simply picking one and going with them. You need to have quite a large list, and you need to start what's called shortlisting those, taking 30 of them and kind of breaking them down and figuring out who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. Obviously, pricing is one really big giveaway. If you have someone that has really cheap prices on their hair, I'm telling you, in this industry, you're going to get what you pay for. You're not going to get a great quality of hair. A lot of people use this method and do very well. However, their business model is based on having a certain percentage of sales to be refunded, disputed, or charged back, and they keep moving beyond that and don't do any refunds, because out of that, say 20% they expect to have problems with their hair, only 10% of those will actually push through the refund. Out of those 10%, maybe 2 to 5% will actually be successful in getting that money back, and that's the business model they choose to go forward with. So you want to make sure that if you're looking for a long-term business and a good supply chain, you're not working with that. Another thing you need to know, and the reason you need to get to know the person you're working with, is you want to make sure they're long-term sustainable. You want to make sure you're not dealing with a middleman that might go out of business as soon as he finds something else, or his house gets taken away, or the factory he's working with decides to no longer work with him. There's many of these factors to take into consideration. Now, with Hair Maiden India, I do offer trips to India, and I've gotten this question a lot: is it necessary to go? I, in my heart, truly believe that it is necessary to see things and understand your business from a very direct, real, first-person view, hands-on and on the ground. However, I do not believe it is necessary in order to start. I do believe it should be a part of your goals and part of your plans, and it will offer you much more than just understanding and knowing what's going on. It'll give you confidence into that understanding and knowing, and it'll also provide you a really great opportunity for some amazing content to share with your clients and show that you're actually taking the time and the investment to understand and research not only who you're buying hair from, but what is going on in this business from the actual source of the hair, which is in India. 95% of the world's hair extensions do originate starting in Indian temples. So to sum up, once again, you're definitely going to want to research and review many vendors. You're going to want to make a short list. You're going to want to start getting to know them, and then you're going to want to start sampling their products as well. This is a long-term process. This is something you should be flexible with and comfortable doing as your business grows more and more and more. I still, to this day, take on new vendor meetings and see what they have to offer and explore their factories and their markets as well. And I suggest you do the same. Do not stick with and pay with one person forever. Always have your backups, always have everything ready, and keep really good relationships established with these people. When I go to India and I meet different suppliers, different factories, we always go out for a drink, we always go out for dinner, we talk about family life, we shake hands, we have a good laugh, and then we discuss business as well. So it's really important, and it's really an essential part of business is relationships and maintaining them and keeping them very well throughout life and throughout time. And if you really can understand this principle moving forward, you're going to have just an amazing amount of ease making connections, making sales, and growing and developing and furthering your business. Stay tuned for the next videos to find out more about sourcing a hair. Quick tips and green flags/red flags when you're working with different hair vending companies. So let me start with the good first. Green flags when you're speaking to companies, in my opinion, first and foremost is good communication. Secondly, behind that, you want to see that this company has a reputable base, an actual company, website, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, their phone numbers, addresses, and all their information are coherent, cohesive, and they all match up on every one of their platforms. That lets you know that they're a legitimate certified business that's out there, putting their information on the market, and is not scared to not let people know who they actually are. Another green flag when you're actually speaking to vendors is actually not just the communication, but in the way they communicate. Are they there offering you knowledge? Do they seem knowledgeable? Are they there to help you out? Are they able to work with you and say, hey, if our minimum is X amount, I can offer you a couple less than that to go ahead and get started. These are all very important things. Now, I hate to be that guy talking about different companies. However, for me, getting into red flags, the first thing is this, and that is when I have an indication that it's a Chinese company. 9 times out of 10, this is part of the umbrella group that I was telling you about, and they're either on Alibaba or Amazon, and they send very mixed qualities of hair. You might get some beautiful hair sometimes, and then just horrible stuff the next time. The reason for this is because they're pulling from larger factories around them, and they're basically just waiting as middlemen to go ahead and send these products to you. Many times you can find a very good company in China as well, and I do know quite a few that are very reputable and actually work with Indian hair. They actually send their agents to India to sit there at our temples in East India, where we have people that collect the hair, process it, clean it, and everything like that, and they send their agents there. They don't even understand Hindi or Punjabi, they don't even speak English, and they sit there and make trades at these temple areas and bring the hair back to China. Some other red flags obviously are bad communication. Vendors or people, businessmen that aren't available to you, hardly ever. They take 2 days to respond back. That's someone you automatically want to kind of leave to the side. Either they're too busy or they're not putting enough time into it. One or the other, either way, it's probably not going to work out being a good fit for you. Obvious bad signs and red flags are when you get bad samples and they don't want to take the money back or the hair back. If they're selling hair, 9 times out of 10, if you don't order something kind of like a custom product they have to make, they should take it back and resell it under their company, especially when it's a good product or you just don't want it. Another big red flag is not taking PayPal. I know this is a big one. I know people go back and forth on this a lot, but PayPal does have some pretty amazing security features and protections in place, both for the clients and for the vendors. Many times vendors that are scared of sending bad product and getting a chargeback or a dispute. Won't use PayPal for those reasons. On top of that, you have to give a little bit of leeway to some of these guys because this is a very high risk industry. Some people are just too scared to take that step. I believe, in my opinion, and once again this is my opinion, that shows a little bit of lack of confidence in your business and the fact that you're a business person that is able to handle things that are thrown at you and the adjustments as they come. One of the things that will be thrown at you is clients for no reason sometimes having chargebacks and disputes. That's just something that you have to cross when you get there. And trust me, it will come. You need to be prepared for it. So definitely check out our videos on chargebacks as well. Super, super important when it comes to running your business long inches. And which textures should you buy to start out? Once again, this is a very good question, and I'd have to say it once again, it really depends on your goals and budgets and who you're looking to sell to. If you're looking to go online only, you would need to have enough hair on hand at the very least to take some good pictures off on your own and maybe put some creative pictures and marketing ideas behind them. If you're selling on hand, it would definitely be a smart idea to have at least 1 inch in texture in every different variety that you plan to offer and carry. So if you were doing 3 different curl patterns, 3 different waves, and 3 different straight patterns, from bone straight to natural straight to a little bit looser of a straight, whatever it may be, you want to have a couple textures in each inches on hand of these quality products. Now, how much is that going to cost you? Depending on who you work with, this kind of sample order shouldn't cost you more than a couple $100. Maybe less than that, maybe a little bit more, depending on which inches you want. Most of the time, there's no reason to have a long inch bundle from a company. Let me tell you this secret. If a company is going to play with you about longer hair in the beginning, they're going to do it later. If they're going to do it later, they're going to do it in the beginning. They might play with you as long as they can. You cannot base one sample order of long hair on the company and think they're going to do it good like that forever. That's simply not the case. This is about longevity and over time seeing who's consistent and who's reliable and who maintains that level. So in the beginning, you can start off with 12 to 16 to 18 inches for your testing purposes. Now, if you want to keep some of that hair to sell as well, I would go ahead and recommend doing 1 wave pattern, 1 curl pattern, and maybe 1 straight pattern. I would have 2 different qualities, one that is priced lower and one that is priced higher, such as raw hair versus virgin hair. Now, we can get a lot more into semantics of all this later on. For Hair Made in India, raw, virgin, and unprocessed all mean the same thing. And in essence, and in fact, actually, they really are the same thing. The market has created different terms in order to segment the clients and better advertise to and sell to these clients with a segmented term. So there's a lot of misinformation out there about that. At Hair Made in India, we like to keep things transparent, real, and direct, which is why for our raw quality, we always say raw straight, raw wavy, and raw curly. And each pattern will differ in between there in each category. Such as raw curly, you'll have different types of raw curlies in there. Especially when you're dealing with a raw natural product, you simply can't expect a uniform pattern. And that's also a dead giveaway that the bundle has been processed, is when you see a signature regular pattern in that hair. So once again, to reiterate and kind of touch base on everything, I would definitely say to keep a variety of textures on hand for you if you're looking to meet people in person. Otherwise, go with the fastest selling items. And I can tell you from selling a lot of hair for the last 7 years that 16, 18 inch through 22, 24 in a deep curl pattern, in a natural curl pattern, and a natural wave pattern sell the fastest, especially in the quality that I carry. If you have those hairs on hand and you're meeting people in the market, you're gonna do sales. So get out there and sell some hair, y'all. So how much hair do you actually need to buy? This is a very good question. It really depends on your goals and what you're looking to do. So if you're looking to pre-order and just only buy enough hair to never have inventory on hand and sell hair to your clients, obviously you're going to want to find a vendor, a person, a company that's going to work with you in that fashion. Usually that's called a pre-order fashion. Basically, you're going to go ahead and take an order from your client, and then you're going to reach out to your company or your vendor, and you're going to purchase that hair from them and make the transaction and trade between your client. One fallback on that is you have to offer a longer shipping time because you have to have it shipped to you, unless you use dropship. Many companies have different dropship methods, and I'll definitely go into that later on. But a few of the basics are the company is going to basically take your name, your information, and send your products to your clients with all that information on there and keep themselves out of it. So they're going to kind of act as your factory. Now, if you have a store or a showroom or a brick and mortar, I suggest you to actually buy as much inventory as you possibly can within your budget. Now, you want to make sure that you're getting good quality. So on large inventory buys like this, especially when you're dealing with the company in the beginning, it'd be amazing if you could actually go meet this company and pick and choose and make sure you're getting the quality hair that you want to go ahead and establish and start a really good business relationship. This is why it's a plus when vendors or companies take the time to have factories in other countries to show a storefront or a location here in the States with good ownership and management to inform and all the customers and clients that come to that area. There's another way that you can have inventory on hand and then use drop shipping or a factory in the same way. And that's kind of the dual method. What you're going to do is you're going to have inventory on hand for certain products that you would know sell fast, say 16 to 22 inch, in a wavy and a curly. You might do hair or you might just sell hair. If you do hair, you want to keep that hair on hand that your customers most use. If you just sell hair, you want to see what the market you're reaching out to is and what they would most like and keep that hair on hand. Now, you can still offer other hair as well on your site or directly to your customers, and you can just let them know that this is at my factory and your factory happens to be the company that you work with. And you can say your warehouse, and the warehouse can be the company that you work with, myself or any other vendor that you choose available as well. So there's a lot of things to take in consideration when you're figuring out how much hair you want to have. Really want to pay attention to your budget when it comes to this. However, if you're looking to do sales long term, it's always a good idea to have hair. My mentor long ago in India told me, in Hindi actually, which is roughly translated in English to, he who has inventory is king in this industry. Basically meaning if you have good quality hair, you want to keep it and you want to buy it and you want to keep it stocked. I've learned the value of this lesson time and time over again when I have orders get backed up. I always wish I had more and more hair. One thing about this is there's a certain limit to how fast you can push people to manufacture these hair products. This is done by hand and it does require time. So when companies start rushing too much, they do get in trouble and start putting out worse quality, which is why at our factory we have an implementation of certain amounts done per day. So we want to continue to build our stock there, but we also want to do it in a fashion that doesn't allow our quality to go down as our quantity increases. So there's a good few tips right there on exactly how much hair to buy. If you're struggling with it and come down to a couple of dollars and you want to reach out and kind of brainstorm some ideas or bounce some things around off of me or someone on my team, definitely drop us a message in the support box or give us a call. The benefits of having more or extra inventory on hand. Let me tell you firsthand, they are extravagant. Having inventory on hand when you have a client base built up, or even if you don't, when you're working on it before then, is so key to handling some of the speed on those orders when they come in. Who does the best these days? Amazon. Literally a $1 billion company now, and big reason why they are is because of the speed in which they deliver. Now, when it comes to a quality product like hair, you never want to place your speed over your quality. However, when you have quality products on hand that you're available to ship out right away, it's very valuable. In Hair Maiden India, we recently implemented a new sales sheet, a spreadsheet, which is our inventory spreadsheet. It gives the ability to see what's in stock at all times in each category for every member of the team. That allows them to holler at somebody on Instagram, talk to them for a second, find out what they want, immediately look at the stock, tell them they can ship this out the very next day for them, and go ahead and collect their payment. That is an invaluable tool to keep in your pocket when you're selling hair. So always remember, he who has inventory in this game is king. Keep good stock and keep regularly increasing your stock based on what your clients are shipping. One of the hypest new terms of the last couple years. What is it all about and what can you do with it? I'm not going to get into a really detailed explanation here because there's probably 10,000 videos on YouTube explaining what dropshipping is, how to get rich doing it, how to make $1 million Shopify store, etc. At the end of the day, dropshipping is simply this. You are going to pay a different third-party company to send products that you're selling directly to your clients for you. They're basically going to be your factory and your fulfillment provider. You can either keep the inventory on hand and let them do it, or you can have them keep all the inventory, send them your packaging and send them your material, and they'll ship out directly for you. My processes look like this. I have people sign up for a shared stamps.com and USPS account and give me admin order notification access on the back end of their websites or their selling platforms. Once those orders come in, we create the shipping label from the back end of the shared account and ship it directly to their customers with the materials they provided me. I have some ladies that send me full detailed packages with beautiful custom wrapping, and I have some that send me plain red bags with a business card. To each their own. Either way works good depending on your branding and marketing campaign. Branding and marketing is something we can dive into for hours, and one quick tip I do suggest is always putting your name on your packaging. People might use these or keep them around for any number of reasons, and it's always good to have your name out there and in their face. So definitely do. You're asking yourself, should I actually drop ship or should I keep inventory on hand? This is a great question, and I have my own opinion just as everyone does. And as I've said before, there's many ways to do things. This is my way. I suggest always keeping inventory on hand at the very least in the beginning. Why? It does many things for you. First of all, it lets you touch and feel the product that you're selling and lets you understand what the actual sales process, the shipping process of the physical product that you're selling looks like, feels like, and will actually be like. From there, you can actually implement systems and start to develop a program and a plan to hand off to a drop shipper. So I would say start with inventory on hand and keep your business plan flexible enough to be able to offer drop shipping and basically use it as an extra factory holding more inventory for you. If you want to start with drop shipping in the beginning as well, most companies are going to have some sort of subscription fee or something in order to get that started for you, because they're going to offer you support, pictures, phone calls. They're going to offer you back-end website assistance and setup. Now, each company does things differently. Some people have native platforms integrated into Shopify with an app. Hair Maiden India has not taken that extra step yet, simply because we don't feel the need to do so yet. However, it is definitely in mind for the future. A lot of companies do the implemented platforms are usually selling products, and sorry to say this once again, based in China and from China. Now, a lot of times these can be great products. Many times, as we all know, they aren't so much so. So be very careful in deciding which way you decide to go. However, once again, from my opinion, you should be very flexible in using both of them. Once you get to the point where you're doing so many orders that you need a fulfillment team, you'll have the systems and the idea of what the business looks like and how it needs to run in place in order to share that with the company you decide to partner with. How are you going to succeed with dropshipping? As I said before, I do recommend implementing both at first, drop shipping and keeping inventory on hand, and basically using your drop shipping supplier as extra hair and extra factory that you can ship out with slower shipping times to your client. Now, being successful in a dropship business is basically the same as many other businesses. In fact, most other businesses. You got to have a marketing plan, you got to have a website, you got to have a place to sell, a way to bring in leads to offer them your sale. So it's going to require a lot of marketing, a lot of website development, and things like that. Now, you can also drop ship in your community by going around and taking samples to salons and people that want to distribute hair and showing them what you have to offer, as well as giving them a price sheet. And then you can drop ship by calling your company and placing the order through them. There are many, many different ways to succeed in drop shipping. In the beginning, if this is the first hair company you started, the first thing you've done, this is your very first day, drop shipping is going to be tough. Why? It's going to be tough to pull those leads not having a credible built online website already, unless you're putting a lot of time in search engine optimization. That means putting content on the back end of your website and putting content out there to the social media platforms, or paying to have advertising done. I do recommend using a strategy that involves both of those when you're starting a dropship company in the beginning. Also, another step on top of that for dropshipping, instead of just being online, you definitely need to be walking around the community and reaching out to people online directly in order to kind of get the snowball effect rolling and boost your sales. Because with dropshipping and selling online, you do need to be credible and be out there for a little bit at the very least, and then offer a really, really good sales page and a pitch in order to actually entice customers into buying with you. Now, you can get into pricing deals, psychological sales deals, all kind of different things when it comes to buying and selling online. However, being credible and taking your time and being on there for a while are going to definitely become key factors. You definitely need to know your dropship company. You need to know the way it works. You need to understand the back end of it, how the site setup works, how the process and communication works, all of that, so you can be successful as you possibly can in your dropship business. Once again, for me, the biggest secret is to have both on hand, and you'll be successful in business either way using both dropshipping and wholesaling inventory methods. How do you succeed in just buying inventory? As I answered in the question about how to succeed with dropshipping, it's basically the same thing. You need to make sure you have a legitimate, credible business and a way to bring in leads to that business, then sell them your offer and go ahead and continue and scale that process. When keeping inventory on hand and using this business method, you're going to have a lot of advantages, which is faster shipping to your customers, more ability to take pictures, and more ability to let people touch, feel, and see your products, which in the hair industry is key. I know a lot of y'all want to be online only and be disconnected from it, and that is totally fine and okay, and it will work like that eventually. However, in the very beginning, I strongly, strongly recommend to take that leap of faith, let go of your fears, get out there in the marketplace and be vulnerable. Take a risk and give people the value that you have to offer with the quality and the service that you're going to be providing and backing up to them. When it comes to wholesaling hair, be ready for a long-term game and a long-term commitment. And be very flexible to do retail sales and other small things in between there to continue to develop that momentum behind your business. Remember, everything you do in your business is going to be a reflection and is going to be publicity at the end of the day for you. So your story, documenting it, showing the pictures, showing the videos, everything from your first day starting is going to come in very, very valuable for you. When it comes to wholesaling, you are business to business type of entity, and you want to conduct yourself as such. You need to have systems, numbers, emails, pictures, everything in order to be able to give to another business to help them to successfully run their business. In order to do that, you need to have and make sure your inventory sheets, your sales sheets, your touch-based methods, your method for bringing in leads and then nurturing them and taking care of them throughout the sales process and even after they buy is very intact and very streamlined. That is very, very important and key in the wholesaling here. You have to have systems developed and made, such as your sales sheet, your inventory sheet, your email lists, all this stuff ready to go at moment's notice in order to make sure you're able to best provide business to your clients and keep them happy moving forward. So a huge advantage of having the inventory on hand is not only can you choose between doing wholesale and resale very flexibly, but you can also go out there in the market, as I've said a few times, and start bringing that hair and bringing those samples to salons, to redistributors, to anybody that wants to see it. And I've said this again and again in all the videos, keep that hair you have on hand, bring it everywhere with you, and show it off to the marketplace and show it off to the world. Take that leap of faith. Don't be fearful. Put your best foot forward. Keep good quality. Serve your customers, and you're going to do just fine. Decided to take on inventory. A very, very big and important thing to remember is you need to keep track of your inventory. There's many, many ways to do this, and there's also platforms and providers out there to do it as well. Me personally, I use a spreadsheet. With the hair business, we like to be flexible and be able to take on new products and try new things and change our inventory sheets as our clients see fit. So that's why I've kept my own spreadsheets that I can edit on my own. What you're going to need to do for your inventory for tracking is separate and categorize everything. So each inch, each texture, each quality that you carry and you have needs to be accounted for and marked. The next step, if you want to do it early, would be to go ahead and make SKUs, SKUs or barcodes for each and every item or product, which is a 14-inch body wave would have one, and a 16-inch body wave would have another, and a 14-inch natural wave or natural straight would have another, and so on and so forth. This will really, really help you a lot in tracking your inventory. In the beginning, I used to keep mine in USPS medium-sized flat rate boxes, which is actually not even legal. You're not supposed to use those boxes for anything except for the mail. I had a couple extra and had some hair, so I would categorize and put mine in those boxes, and I would do it on a daily basis. Whenever I moved hair, count them one by one and put it on a piece of paper, until I remember what I learned in high school and got back on Microsoft Excel and made a nice little spreadsheet that tracks all my inventory that finally, after 7 years, I'm making a new system around it that I can actually share with my team and eventually my dropship and wholesale clients, so they can know exactly what's in the inventories in stock, when, why, and where. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important to track your inventory, so you can later share that information with whoever you need to share it with. On top of that, it gives you a good pulse of your business. It lets you know how much inventory you have in stock, what you can sell, and how much that inventory costs. Really, really great reason you want to track your inventory and have a system to do so, whether it's on an Excel form or G Sheet, which is the same thing. Microsoft Excel actually made a program, or maybe Google made it, copying off an Excel, I'm not really sure, but it's accessible online on the cloud. You can access it from any of your devices or your laptops, anywhere in the world, as long as you can log into your Google account. So it's called G Sheets. One of the biggest reasons you want to track this, so when you're talking to people and you're trying to make sales, or you're looking into your business, you can open up your phone, go to Google Sheets, and you can actually see what you have. Now, why? Why do you need to know this information? If you have this information at your fingertips, you can do what's called leveraging your inventory, right? The inventory you have on hand. And that means that, hey, I know I have a lot of 16 to 20 inch in hand right now. I know it's a natural wave and I'm ready to get some of this moving. It's been sitting in inventory for a month. You can talk to people and you can make sales in real time as you're on the phone or as you're messaging someone on Instagram or email and say, hey, I do have 16 to 20 inch in stock ready to ship now. I can offer you free shipping and a $10 discount and get that ready for you right now. It's going to help you with sales. It's going to help you move inventory. And it's also going to help you start to build confidence, understand and know that when you have inventory in stock, it will move. And ladies and gentlemen, this level of hair, if you deal with Hair Maiden India directly in your inventory and supply chain purchasing, is not a level of hair that people sit on. This hair moves, people buy it, people love it, and as long as you're doing good business, you're going to be able to handle any of the little complaints or issues that come up in the meantime, which I have to say it, I can't say anything is perfect. In the hair industry, you are going to have issues and complaints. You're going to have chargebacks, you're going to have fraud, you're going to have the perfect bundle, something go wrong with it. And really, really, really pay a lot of attention to my video that I do in chargebacks and complaints, because it's all tied together. As long as you're doing a couple certain things on the back end and then showing yourself and your values of your business on the front end, you're going to be just fine and business is going to go just how you need it to. Physical products require areas to place them in, right? So where are you going to put your hair inventory? How are you going to hide it? How are you going to store it? There are many different places to do it. Once again, you can always make your own method. A few things to keep in mind are you want to keep it safe, you want to keep it secure, you want to keep it easily accessible, so if you need to ship it and when you need to ship it or show it, you can do that easily. Now, you can either pick to do this in a suitcase that's with you. I recommend a small roller that locks. It's TSA approved, meaning it can go in check-in luggage anywhere in the world. And you can store, trust me, upwards of 100 bundles in one of these small TSA approved check-in bags, and they do lock. I would, on top of that, if you're staying in a physical location like your family's home, I would keep a safe or keep some kind of lock where you store your inventory to where other people can't get it, because no matter how much you trust anybody around you, you don't want to have anything out there to give anybody a reason to take anything, and you don't want to have any reason to point any fingers anywhere else. You're responsible for your inventory. That is your investment, that is your money. You want to protect it as such. Safes are very good ideas. You can get a safe on Amazon for less than $100 that works very well. I do recommend, if you're using a safe with a lot of inventory, that you get one that is heavy enough people can't carry it, or one that you can secure into the ground. You can also leave product or inventory with families or friends that you trust very well. Keep in mind, hair is basically a cash type of product, so you want to have a very trusted individual or friend you're leaving it with. On top of that, get creative. There's many ways. I used, like I said, USPS flat rate medium-sized mailboxes to hide and categorize my hair in the very beginning, and now I use metal racks for $60 on Amazon and storage carts that come with lock and key, all to store it. You don't want to put your hair in the sun, and you don't want to leave it in damp or wet locations, or locations where kids or animals can grab it, because you might have plastic parts on them. One, it'll damage them or the environment. Two, it could also hurt your hair, if you're leaving it in damp or hot locations or in the sun. Talking about pricing, we need to retrace our footsteps and go back to learning about hair, doing your due diligence, and researching other companies. So, when you're pricing your hair, you have to know what kind of hair you're working with. I'm speaking from any level of hair, all the way down to synthetic, all the way up to raw Indian version hair. Whichever where you are in the middle, the pricing is going to be different according to what you have. So, you really want to take time to learn about hair. Learn about the hair extension and human hair extension trade and industry, starting from its roots in India and Asia and other countries that actually have procedures of hair tonsuring in place, going all the way to the end of it in the market, in the States, around the world, what people are liking, what people aren't, and what people are wanting and what they aren't. You really need to infuse yourself in the culture of hair and learning about it. For me personally, I had the blessing and opportunity to learn about hair on a first-hand experience when I first started in India, from manufacturers and factories that I traveled to and traveled around when I lived there and rented my car there. I'm also an Indian citizen and have a bank account and land there, so I had a couple of different opportunities and avenues to move into markets there when I first started looking. However, I spent so much time sitting with labor. I understand the language so I could speak with them, finding out how long they've worked there, what they do there, why they love their jobs there, and why they don't. This is all very, very small stuff, but it's so important when it comes to learning what is actually going on in the human hair industry. Now, I do have a lot of free videos out there on YouTube where I'm actually taking you guys on a tour in India to the temples, showing you where this trade actually really starts at, and that is the temples in India. So once again, when it comes to pricing, the first thing we're going to need to discuss and really get into is, do you know your hair? Then, do you know the hair business? Do you know what's hot? Do you know the trends? Do you know what's selling and who's buying? Do you know the big players? This takes time and this takes research. And it also takes becoming a player in that market, which I also, in all my other videos, encourage all of you to do while you're taking this course. Sell hair, play in the market, learn about it, and put your best foot forward, be true and honest, and you'll never go wrong. Is there a pricing secret? No. There is no pricing secret. There are many rules of thumbs, which we've discussed. There are many ways to do it, which you've seen me, and you'll get to learn more about how I do it in my next classes as well. However, there is no secret. There is no golden rule. There's many different ways to price it. Once again, it really depends on the quality and the value you're putting out there as to where you're going to price it. Be very flexible. As entrepreneurs, we have to be flexible. In this business, you want to be even more so flexible. Be ready to change your prices. Also, one quick tip, I'll share with you in the next video. When it comes to pricing your hair and giving your clients a price for the products you're selling them, the biggest thing you want to know, obviously, is how much you're paying for it first. You have to take into account a few things when doing this. The first is you're going to take is your cost of goods sold, COGS, C-O-G-S. It's a big term in business, especially a products-based business, that lets you know how much that good, that product, that bundle that you sell actually costs you. Many people do this differently. Some people put their shipping and their marketing and all of these costs into their price and build it in, and some don't. What we do at Hair Maiden India is we give you one shipping cost and one cost for the hair. We like to keep things transparent and clear. I do recommend all my businesses to do it like this. A lot of times people think, yeah, I can get away with offering free shipping. It's going to look amazing, but I'm going to put that $5 to $10 inside my product. Me personally, I believe it better be transparent. Show them what shipping costs. Don't overcharge for it. Use USPS, FedEx, give them the options to pay that direct price, and have your products priced based on the actual COGS, or the cost of goods sold. And once again, people do this in many different ways. Now, your expenses. This is not actually part of COGS. It really, a lot of people take it into account, and it is a big factor. However, your expenses in running a business, such as showroom expenses, phone expenses, labor expenses, employee expenses, are going to be separate. However, you can factor that into the overall price you put in your product. Why? Because it comes down to the service you offer them. If you're a company who's out there paying for products such as HubSpot or CRM companies, PayPal invoicing, which protects clients and yourself, and you're putting your best foot forward in order to make sure your company is smooth so your users have a good experience checking out, learning about hair, buying hair, and then receiving your product, you're going to offer them a better service. In turn, a higher price where you price your products. So, once again, to reiterate and to make things short and clear when it comes to cost of goods sold, I recommend separating your actual expenses, however factoring them in, and then finding out your cost of goods sold before then pricing your product. The general rule of thumb in American retail is 35 to 50% markup on any kind of retail item. In most industries, if you take the healthcare industry, for example, their markup sometimes is upwards of 400%. Depending on the services and different things they offer in the different situations of business. So if you're working with Hair Maiden India products, I tell all my people this: price it high. People do not offer this level of service in hair and consistent quality over time in this market. Keep your numbers up there and up there. If you're offering different levels of hair and working with different companies, I would never knock another company. Other companies have many different business models and practices and goals and outcomes and personalities. However, I do strongly suggest taking each cost of goods sold at a certain level with that certain level of hair. The reason the hair market is messed up so badly even these days is because people, as you know, try to pass off virgin and raw and temple hair that they get from China for $5 as that level and sell it for $200. I've seen this with my own eyes in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles. So it does happen in the market, and that really does hurt everybody involved. If you're one of the stand-up business owners that's going to keep it real, going to keep it straight with your clients, you're going to go very far in this industry. And don't worry about all the other people coming in. My biggest example on that is, and I think on maybe Tony Robbins or Gary Vee, or maybe all of them said it, walk down any grocery store in America and you'll see 100 different kinds of bread. They all do well, they all sell. Don't worry about the competition. Do you stay strong, put your best foot forward, and you're going to do just fine. Price your products on the quality and the value that you're putting out there. Pricing, especially in the beginning, you're going to be looking to your circles, to your scope of influence, your friends and your family to sell to as well. Many people have problems with this, and I'm laughing because it happened to me. Most of my friends in my area in Mississippi and the South were very excited when I made a Facebook post and started to decide to sell hair. However, when I came down there with hair direct from the temples in my hand, priced exactly at what I paid for it, I actually couldn't sell any of it. And it really did faze me. It actually slowed me down for a minute. I gained momentum back by heading on my road trip to New Jersey, where I was going to live, and stopping in Atlanta to meet with a developer friend who helped me work on the website and pictures and get momentum flowing that way. Also, in turn, when that momentum flowed, sales started coming in from Atlanta, where I was at that time. And as I moved to New Jersey, things continued to roll. But back to the story. Pricing wise, I was going cost to cost, meaning I bought at 80, I was selling at 80, I was excited to do business. Many people ask me, hey Rocky, is it good to start up selling a little bit lower because it's hard for me to sell to people at a higher price right now? My answer in short is yes. Most people say it's based whether or not you're looking for a long-term business or a side hustle. In my opinion, like I said before, even a side hustle can be a legitimate business. and you can do very well with it. So I think that yes, in the beginning when you're first getting started, sell for a low price. Make enough money to cover maybe your gas to get to the post office and back, or to pay for 1/10 of your phone bill that it costs you to be on the phone to make this purchase happen. Keep it low. And then yes, you will eventually be able to change your prices. I think I've changed my wholesale prices only 3 times since I've started. It's been 7 years. And now they are what they are. They haven't moved, and I don't anticipate them moving unless something really crazy happens on the hair market in India. So yeah, I changed mine 3 times, and they are what they are now. And I do still honor my early first day clients with the same pricing category, if not even better. That is a very, very good thing to keep in mind. You don't want to take clients you had in the very beginning at a certain price and cut that off for them. And don't worry, it is not going to be a big deal. When you get to the point where you're upping your pricing and you're changing, it is going to not cost you as a business any money, almost if you were even going cost to cost with these people in the beginning, to keep them flowing and to keep them being fans and supporters of your business. Jumping into some quick tips about pricing. My first and biggest and best one that I love to use is this. Make your products, especially if you have a high quality product, higher. Price, and if you're going to price something at $200, go ahead and price it at $250, and then offer discount codes, offer coupon codes, offer sales codes. It's a really, really smart and strategic way to price your products because it does 2 things. It keeps your product's value very high, and it also entices the customer into feeling like they got a good sale and a good deal. Now, is this tricking a client? No, absolutely it is not. You're going to put the price that you want as the original price that they're going to get. However, you're going to put that markup on there and then offer the discount. Now, when it really comes down to pricing, there are so many tips and tricks. We can get into this discussion for hours and hours and hours, but there are a few general basic items to talk about. First is pricing depending on where and how you're selling. If you're selling in a retail location, you have those overheads and you're offering your customers and your clients an in-store experience with you, which at the end of the day, an in-store experience is that what it is. It's an experience, in-store, in-person, tangible. So you're gonna price your products a bit higher. If you're offering it just online, you're going to want to come in a little bit lower than that because customers are looking for a quick ship to them without the hassle of going into a place. They want the convenience and they want the good price. Now you think many times people will pay more for the convenience. A lot of times that is true. However, that is not the case with hair. Hair is a product people want to touch and feel many times in order to push them over the edge, in order to really make them happy into purchasing. And one thing we know about us all, even me, if I'm really happy and love a product, I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to buy it almost no matter what it is within my means, obviously. So that's how you want to price it based on where you are. Now, who you're marketing to. Depending on who you're marketing to and who your niche kind of clientele and customers are, you're going to want to price it accordingly. If you are pricing or selling mainly to college students from your sororities in the beginning, or you are a dancer and you're working with cheerleading companies at different colleges and you want to really market to those ladies and those people at those schools, you're going to have to take in consideration a lot of them might not have as much money and price accordingly. And in that turn, in case you're using high value products, you're going to want to structure your business that allows you to do more volume. That is where you're going to win. That is where your profits are going to come in. You need to do volume and you need to understand that sometimes it takes time in order to build up to that volume. It took me about 3 to 4 years to have anything anybody could call something as volume. Another tip about pricing, and a thing to think about, is 2 different methods. One is your keystone pricing, and one is your MSRP, which you see on all kind of labels all across the universe. It means what it says, manufacturer suggested retail pricing. And as I said before, the other one is going to be your keystone pricing, or your rule of thumb pricing. For most retailers, the rule of thumb or keystone pricing is simply double what you got it for, the double up. And it's actually a very good method, especially in hair extensions as well, no matter who your market actually is. There are heavy overheads. It is a high risk business. You want to at least be doing a double up. Another suggested method is the MSRP, or the manufacturer suggested retail pricing. That basically means that us, the manufacturer, Hair Maiden India, or any other company you work with, is going to suggest to you a retail price for you to offer your customers when you're buying from us in wholesale. For us, we simply recommend you to look at our website and use those prices. Our retail prices are among the highest in the industry, and for very good reason. We offer that quality, that value, that service, and the information knowledge database and team to back all that up. One of the big things we have to talk about when you're running your business is how you're going to actually receive funds. How are you going to take payments? Obviously, we have cash. Everybody knows how to use cash. You take and you get, and you have cash in your hand. But nowadays, we have credit cards, debit cards, checks, Bitcoin, transfers, Sezzle, all kind of different options available to users and consumers out there in the market in order to pay you. You want to have systems in place in order to accept these payments. These days, I believe there is somewhere around 1,300 different payment processing merchant solution providers on the market that process cards such as Visa, MasterCard, and etc. And picking one, you want to take a lot of things into factor. One of the biggest things you want to take into factor is the user experience. How easy to use is their platform? How nice does it make it look to your customer who's going to be getting this invoice or bill from you to pay with? How many options does it offer that client? Does it offer Visa, American Express, MasterCard, Bitcoin? Can you send them an invoice on email if they need one? Can you get on the phone with them and use a virtual terminal and actually process this payment on the phone with them? There's many other things to factor in, including fraud and risk detection, which I'll do an entirely different video on about how to protect yourself from chargebacks, from fraud, and from knowing what to do and how to set up the back ends of all these systems, many of which I've used personally myself in order to protect you and your business best from these kind of fraudsters that are out there. From Stripe to Square to PayPal to Authorize.net to Bank of America. There are so many different platforms out there. The biggest thing is you have the payee, the person paying you, the client, which is yourself, and the merchant provider, which is Authorize.net, Stripe, Square, etc., and then you have the bank. All these people interact together in order to make that payment come in your bank account. These people have percentages ranging from 0.9 all the way up to 3 and 4% per transaction, as well as a fee per transaction. So this is not a step that you want to pick quickly or skip over. You want to really make sure you're picking the best one for your business. One thing to keep in mind is what level of volume of transactions do you anticipate coming through on your site. If you anticipate a high level, you might want to think about a provider solution that doesn't charge a per transaction fee and just an overall percentage. If you have a high ticket product and you don't have much volume, you might want to consider the alternative. So there's a lot of things to dive deep into as far as picking these payment providers. I do suggest you either pick a one-on-one session with me or talk to a close friend or business associate that has used one of these payment providers and get the pros and cons directly from them. We're doing business online, we're doing business in stores, we take payments here and there. A lot of our clients want very custom orders or stuff that we don't have built out onto an invoicing system yet. What are we going to do? We want to send them what's known as an e-invoice. And that's basically an invoice to their email, which they can click and then pay by entering their debit or credit card information into the payment portal. There's many, in fact, almost all payment solution providers have some sort of email to invoice platform. There's a couple free ones out there for iPhone users called Invoice ASAP or Invoice Now that have low percentages and that allow you to invoice your clients. PayPal is one that I use very frequently myself that allows you to type in an email address, put a line item in there, which is natural wavy Indian hair, 1 kilogram, put a price, as well as add taxes and shipping fees on it as well. You're going to then email this to your invoice to your client. They're going to pay it. You're going to get the payment automatically. Now, there's a lot of different solution providers, as we went over in the how to pick a payment processor video. And they're all different when it comes to email invoicing too. The percentages increase and decrease with each one, and the platforms and the user experiences go up and down with each one as well. You want to definitely do your research into which one you're picking. PayPal and Authorize.net both have similar, very streamlined, easy ways to invoice your customers via an email address. I personally like PayPal better, however they are more expensive. The reason people have issues with PayPal is going to be done on a video separately, most likely in this course. However, I can give you the quick answer. PayPal holds money. PayPal does disputes and favors with clients very heavily many times. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you how to get on PayPal's good side and their good graces in our PayPal and you video. How are you going to take payments in person? Obviously, everybody has cash these days, and now everyone has cards, tap to touch, Apple Pay, all kind of different solutions out there. You want to be prepared to take all these. Once all this virus stuff ends and we're able to do trade shows again and move around the country and move around our marketplaces, salons, and different distributors' locations, we're going to once again have the opportunity to take payments right there in person. And if you have a brick and mortar, you're going to take them right there in person as well. We talked about our merchant providers, Stripe, Square, PayPal, etc., Authorize.net. However, you also need a system in place to take that stuff, payments, in person. There's many third-party companies such as Clover, which we use at Hair Maiden India, or Square has their own proprietary material, or PayPal has actually their own proprietary device as well, which allows you to take payments in person via credit card, tap to touch, and all that. Now, really, really good tip and something to remember when you're taking payments in person is if you go ahead and go the extra step to have a device on hand that can accept a chip reader, you're going to, versus a swipe or versus typing it in, you're going to get charged a lower percentage for that transaction. You always want to do the most secure method as possible when it comes to accepting cards. If you insert a chip or if you use a debit card with a PIN transaction, you're going to always have a lower fee. It means it's going to save you money, and it's going to be a secure transaction that gives you peace of mind knowing that if this client decides to play any kind of game or any kind of chargeback with you in the future, that you have them down as paying with a debit chip feature and a PIN transaction feature as well. So definitely keep that in mind when you're thinking about in-person transactions. Always remember, if you're not using a device and you're taking cash, to go ahead and have an invoice or a sales book and receipt package you can get from Walmart or any local store for probably $1 in order to give your client a receipt and keep a carbon copy for yourself and your business. PayPal. Why all the fuss? Some people love it, some people hate it. I love PayPal personally, and that was once a love-hate relationship that I had to work through. I definitely was one of the people that hated PayPal in the beginning. However, I stuck it out with them and kept putting my best foot forward and doing what they required as of a seller in order to get in their good graces. Those steps are as follows. First of all, when selling products on PayPal, you want to sell products when you're using PayPal, and you want to ship those products. You do not want to use PayPal to do in-person sales, and you do not want to use PayPal for service-based products as a general rule of thumb, especially in an industry with hair where you have high chargeback and fraudulent transactions. PayPal actually classifies hair extension seller as higher risk in the chargeback category, meaning you're going to get charged a higher percentage when a client charges back or commits fraud or wants a refund on their PayPal account. However, PayPal, once you start doing this on a regular basis and shipping to the exact address they want you to ship to, making sure your client has that exact address, and fulfilling orders in a timely fashion, they're going to start allowing you to withdraw more money at a time. They're going to allow you to start taking more payments at a time, and they're going to lower your transaction fees per payment. They're also going to offer you what's called working capital. Now, I'll get really deep in this whenever we do a class and a discussion about credit and your business. However, PayPal working capital is an amazing solution, which as long as you use them for a while and then follow all their seller procedures, they will offer you. In the beginning, they were offering me around $10,000 as immediate cash capital for my business for a one-time fee of, I think it was around $1,500, maybe less than that, which is 10 to 15% still high. However, as a one-time payment coming out of that loan, and then you pay them back based on and from solely your sales on PayPal. It's a very good solution that helps you keep business rocking during rough times or during the startup times when you have it going. So yeah, PayPal, once again, I do recommend using them. I recommend toughing it out. I recommend showing them that you can legitimately run your business efficiently and allowing them to offer you all the amazing solutions they have that you can put on your website, such as offering credit to your customers and having pop-ups that actually track the users on your website from the back end of PayPal Analytics, giving you more insight to how your customers are shopping, what they're putting in their carts, and what they're being enticed to buy with, and what they're being enticed to actually buy on your website. The alternative are wide. There's so many of them out there. The percentages go up and down. PayPal does protect you, and it does protect your client pretty heavily. In fact, there's many women out there, there's many men out there, there's many businesses out there that will not buy with companies that do not offer PayPal solutions because they are very strict in making sure sellers are following all protocol when selling to their clients, and clients know this. So even if you don't want to use PayPal as much, I do recommend offering it as a solution to your clients on all your platforms and beginning to work it out with them. You can always direct, especially larger payments, to different platforms if you want to. Many times when it comes to clients, I can give you a story. I had a client willing to pay me $12,000 for a wholesale order that lived 2 hours away from me in Carlsbad, California. This client is still a cool friend of mine now. Hopefully she's in the course also. I won't say her name for anonymity. However, instead of taking the payment on a wire transfer, which we had not met at this time, and kind of opening my business up and my bank accounts up a little bit for any kind of possible mishaps, I decided to go ahead and drive down there and take the payment in cash. And we did a certified bank check, cash at the bank, and cleared the payment and the order just like that. Knowing that client now would never ask any such thing in the future, I would definitely allow a wire transaction. However, going back, that was a very wise move. And I recommend that to all people, especially with larger volume transactions in the beginning. Get as face-to-face as you can. When it comes to payment processing, you're going to want to have all kind of things and documentation down, which we'll go over more in depth in the credit class and as well as the chargeback class. However, obviously, you want to make sure you use a provider that provides some of this stuff inbuilt in this platform, and PayPal as well as Authorize.net both do a pretty amazing job of providing that for you. Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, credit card, debit card, checks, Bitcoin, this and that. There's so many different ways to be paid out there these days. Many people say, which one should I pick? Or why should I pick more than one? Or why should I take the hassle of picking more than one? I've taken the stance in the route with Hair Maiden India, as well as my other companies, to take multiple solutions from multiple providers. And I manage all those very well in my systems by keeping track of my accounts, my expenses. One of my business expenses is the merchant fees that we pay in order to process these transactions. I used to take Cash App and Venmo even. I have stopped doing that just because it's really not a business platform and there's a lot of fraud activities going on there. Now, people that know me very well, that I've worked with for years, I'll still take that payment from them and I'll put it in my accounts and make it reflected in my accounts to show where that payment came from in my income. So I do suggest taking all forms of payment. You're going to have to be very careful in protecting yourself with some of the less secure payment methods. So if you're not ready to protect yourself and don't know what to do, I do not recommend you taking Cash App and things like that. However, if you do take my class about chargebacks, fraud, and different things that are really crazy in our industry, I will get really in depth into those conversations with you, and you will feel very comfortable in taking any form of payment by being meticulous in your paperwork during those payment processes. I've actually have stories of $12,000 and above when it comes to fraudulent transactions with my clients, with mistakes that I've made that almost stopped my business in its tracks, that I will share with you and give you the details, even the paperwork that I filed and everything down to the video that I took, trying to be meticulous and protecting myself back then. However, I missed one key step, and that is things I'm going to share with you that could potentially save you and your business. Reminder on your income. Make sure you're always writing it down. Make sure you're accounting for everything, especially when you're taking cash as well. Make sure you're giving your customers invoices and receipts and sending it to them and keeping that documentation on file. I believe the IRS requires you to keep some of that documentation on file for between 3 and 7 years. Don't quote me on that, but I believe there is some kind of requirement to actually keep certain paperwork on file for your company. It's also a good rule of thumb to remember and to later on maybe feed into a CRM system, which is a client resource management system, which kind of tells you a year down the road if a client comes back to you and bought 3 18-inch bundles of Body Wave for $346 using a credit card. When they come back again, you'll know what they bought, when they bought it, and how they paid, and you'll be able to assist them. We work online, we work in stores. When we work online, we have to ship our products out, right? How are we going to ship this hair out? Relax. This is a very easy process, and it's almost, at this point, therapeutic for me when I ship and pack hair. It's very easy. You want to have your systems in place, first of all. As I say repeatedly, systems are so important in business. Same thing in shipping in your business. You want to have your pre-packed labels and your materials all ready to go. For me personally, I use Rollo printer, which is a digital label printer, and I use USPS prepaid Priority Express and regular mail envelopes, which are free from the USPS. You're simply going to take your hair, put it inside the packages, print the label out with USPS or FedEx if your client wants FedEx and they pay for it, and put it on top of the label and bring it to the post office. A lot of people do pickups, a lot of people do scan forms. I still, 7 years later, deliver all my packages to the post office myself, or my assistant partner Aquarius does that in the showroom as well. Shipping, there's a couple general rules of thumb for shipping. I'll go over them now. The biggest thing is you're going to want to put insurance on high value packages. Always. You're going to want to have signature required always, and that goes into deeper discussion when we talk about our chargeback class as well. It's very important for your chargebacks, for PayPal and for other providers as well. You want to make sure you're shipping to the same billing and shipping address for your client, and you also want to make sure that you don't put anything that says hair on the package. I actually black out anywhere that says hair on my packages. 7 years I've been doing this with USPS and FedEx. I have only had one package ever come up missing, and that package was actually found about a month later. They went to the wrong address in Texas and eventually ended up coming back to us. These are very solid ways to do it. I am very, for lack of a better term, or probably the right term, OCD about my shipments. I make sure they're neat, I make sure they're clean, I make sure the label is proper on there, I make sure hair is not on there, I make sure it's going to the same shipping and billing address, I make sure the client's name is clear, and I even, before I had the digital printer label, which saved me tons of time, rolloprinter.com, check them out, small, quick, easy, $180 label, digital label printer that works beautifully and saves amazing amounts of time, saved me ridiculous time in my business. But I make sure back in the day when I didn't have that, I would make sure I'd put a piece of Scotch tape on top of where I printed out the label to make sure in case I sent it to an area that got wet or it got torn, that there's a piece of tape on that label to make sure that that address could still be seen and a piece on my return address. And you always want to have your good return address on your business there so your clients can get used to knowing that that's your location, whether it's a P.O. box or whatever, but that's the location that your business has a physical address or physical mailing address at. Again, we live in the digital technology age. There are so many tools out there to help you with shipping, branding, and all kinds of different things in your business. I'm going to go over a few of them right now that are going to help get your products out there and ship them. So first of all, you want to put stickers and different kind of designs and things on a small piece of packaging paper. Right? What are you going to do? So if you're not a designer, you don't know how to do that, you don't have a printer at home, you need help. We can go to many, many different sites. The ones I use are these two. Fiverr.com will allow you to pay, that's Fiverr.com, will allow you to pay any random person across the world anywhere from $5 to $25 to make a quick design for you with your logo, with a picture on there, and give that to you in a printable format. You're going to take that printable format and you're going to go to places like uprinting.com, which I use, or even FedEx or Staples.com, and you're going to put an order in for printing those packages out, right? So at uprinting, I know you can get about 100 type of regular poly mail labels with your design on them for less than $80. You're going to take those and you're going to be able to ship that directly to your clients with your logo and everything on there looking really professional. So Fiverr.com and then uprinting.com are two major ones that we use to help our clients out now with their design and then they're printing their design. On top of that, you have stamps.com, USPS.com, PayPal.com, ShipStation.com, among many others that help you ship. DHL, USPS, UPS, etc. All these sites have different platforms that will allow you to hook into them and even create what's called an API, or basically a link from their website to your website, meaning you can process and transfer data such as pricing and tracking numbers, as well as actually printing those labels directly using these platforms and sites. I recommend, since we're taking all payment platforms, we offer all shipment platforms as well. At Hair Maiden India, we can ship FedEx, DHL, UPS, USPS, or any other smaller shipment provider such as TNT that goes to the Philippines and different things like that. All these places have online versions now. They all have different levels of user experiences and usability. I recommend you signing up for an account for free on all of them. To take that a step further, there's a thing called ShipStation. Now, personally, I didn't love ShipStation, and it might be because I didn't put enough time into it. However, my chief of operations, Miranda, and good friend from a long time, loves it and still uses it in our company, even though the rest of the company doesn't use it. Why? It streamlines things for her, allows her to categorize things, and has a pretty robust database of being able to plug and play and change things around to make it, more streamlined to your business and to how you want to ship things. And they also have APIs and plugins to different websites, to different providers such as WordPress, WooCommerce, Shopify, etc., etc. So they are, still a very good option. I think they're around $9 to $15 a month for their account setup and for their fees, which is definitely considerable, thinking, you have to add that into your shipment cost somewhere at some point, or at least factor it in. Being that I didn't love it, I wouldn't give them a strong recommendation. However, if you're looking for a solution to kind of streamline all the different ways you have orders coming in from your store or from online or from direct, and put them in a platform that will allow you to ship all right there, ShipStation.com is one of the solutions out there, and there are many more. Make sure you do your research and check them out. I'll tell you a little bit about our process when it comes to shipping here. This has been a process in the making. In the very beginning, when I first came to America from India after my time there, I was traveling the country in a car basically and looking for a new place to stay for me and my new family and my new life. So I would keep hair in my car and in my apartment and ship it from any post office I could go to. I would print using any printer I could find with my apartment complex. Eventually I would buy my own printer. But in the very, very beginning, I would literally use any post office, any free materials or word to get my product out and ship it. I would do it myself. I would make sure signature confirmation was on there. I would make sure I kept a record of it. So I would usually use an online service such as USPS or stamps.com. Back then, I think I started with stamps.com and would keep a track of who I was shipping to in there. That way when clients asked me, I could always say, here's your tracking number and here's your information. As I progressed slowly and moving into apartments and had my own place to stay, I would build a small system of using small boxes from the USPS, and I would put each inch and each texture in a different one. And I would have some packing materials and supplies at my apartment as well. Some free materials from USPS, some poly mailers, and some bubble wrap envelopes as well. I would still print things out on a printer and cut them out and tape them to the packages, which took quite a bit of time. Now, as I progressed more and more and eventually came to Los Angeles and had a physical location, I was able to start doing more shipments and able to make more of a system of it. So in my locations, I would buy what is called a Rollo printer. It's basically just like a dyno, like a thermal label printer, which prints out all your shipping labels with a sticky label on the back of it, a barcode ready to scan, and you don't need to refill the ink or printer on it ever, like at all. And it saves a lot of time. It was actually one of my best investments, I think, of 2018, whenever I got it at the showroom. It saved all the cutting and saved all the taping on the envelopes. Then I use USPS priority mail envelopes and boxes for free, and don't put anything about hair on the package, so I reduce my chance of hair getting stolen or misplaced or whatever have you. And in 7 years, I am proud to say, as I've told you guys before, I only had one package come up missing, which was found about a month later. So USPS is very reliable. With FedEx, when my customers and clients request it, I do have FedEx boxes and labels sitting around the office as well, and I simply pack those up and bring it to FedEx. Now, how do I get the shipment and the package from the office to the showroom or to the post office? I still these days deliver that stuff myself because it's such an important step. And you're, like I said before in other videos, our hair is a cash-like product. It's unregulated. A lot of things can happen to it, and we have a lot of things happen in this industry. So it does behoove you to take that extra step and do it yourself. Now that I have a beautiful team around me and I've known them these ladies forever, Aquarius, Miranda, and Trina, I'm able to do a lot more and allow them to actually take packages to the office as well, and everything runs very smoothly. I do encourage you to definitely use the circle you have around you to help you further your business, to help you expand and grow. Always pay for value given with credits. However, be very careful in who you pick, and definitely pick people close to you that you can trust. Once again, this is a cash type of business, and you do want to make sure that you have control over some of the most valuable parts of it, which is your inventory to start with. So once again, that's our process for shipping. It's very simple. Sometimes things get complicated or you move fast. It helps you a lot to have a system that's organized to know what to do. So when you're moving shipments fast, it's just click, 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 you get it done. Nowadays, when I go into the showroom a couple times a week and I have 20 shipments even backed up that need to go out, it never takes me more than an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the very most to pack everything. And I do it meticulously. I make sure the tape is on properly, the label's facing the right way. I make sure the extra tape is not hanging off, so there's no snags and the envelope doesn't get ripped open or thrown in the trash or something goes wrong with it during the shipment course. If you take all these small steps, you'll save yourself headache and trouble in the future. And if it sounds like a lot, don't be overwhelmed. Once again, it's all about making a system for this. Once you have a system in place, a step 1 to step 10 in place, you'll not only be able to do it yourself very easily, you'll be able to teach it to people that work with you in the future also, which is a big step and issue for me that I had to take 4 years ago when I started hiring people. I had to go back and make systems that were on paper for other people to do the things that I was doing. So once again, these are just some quick tips and showing you our process in the shipping. If you have more questions about it or something in more detail, definitely reach out to us in your support inbox or give us a phone call, and thank y'all for listening. So why should you take the extra step and keep a client folder and keep information on your clients, whether it's physical or whether it's on your computer? This is a very, very important step in the nurturing process, which is a huge process in the sales process, meaning you want to show your customer what you have to offer, and then you want to guide them along that kind of journey. I think the last time the statistic report came out, it was most people need between 7 and 10 soft touches online from different sources before they're geared and primed to buy, meaning they have to see you on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, Facebook, see an ad come across, hear about you on the news or from a friend or from a TV, multiple ways. Once they do, they're definitely going to be more involved in wanting to buy from you and work with you. So having information on them becomes key. So say you had a client folder for Jane Smith. Jane Smith has reached out to you on Instagram and she's explained that she is an alopecia patient. This is how her hair looked before and she wants wigs like this. And she sent you screenshots and pictures. Take those screenshots and pictures and put it in her folder and keep it there. Then anytime you need to reach back and look at it, you know exactly who this client is and what they want. Any other pertinent data that they send you, you'd also want to store in this folder. That way you have an ability to go back into your case files and see what exactly your client needs, who they are, and what they're doing. More importantly, when you scale, your entire team will have this system at their fingerprints and you won't have to coach them on each client. They can go to a general page, see the folder, and get all the information they need to be able to properly take care of and eventually sell to this client of yours. Also, we'll dive further into detail in this on our chargeback class. However, keeping all this data from client messages to emails to screenshots of pictures and more is very important when it comes to any kind of disputes or issues coming up in the future with those clients. Not only do you have proof to submit to the proper authorities, but you also have the ability to look back and show your client that you do care about them, that you have been paying attention to them, that you have a file built on them, and this is what it is and this is what isn't, what you can do for them. So keep this in mind. Make sure you definitely take care of your clients in a larger sense, and that means doing stuff behind the scenes for them, like securing their data, keeping a file on them so you can understand more what they want, what they need when they come back to you. I can't tell you how many times having a client folder has saved my butt in this business. One time, as I told you guys before, there was a $12,000 fraud on my account from a client who ordered stuff using her business checking account and tried to claim fraud later. I actually had an entire folder on her with her signature on file, a picture and video of her in the front of her house, and me handing her the hair as well. To be honest, this still didn't help me with this case in Los Angeles because they can never find the lady. However, there have been many other instances where keeping data on customers has helped me later on, especially when it comes to people saying that they didn't receive products. I would actually have a folder on them detailing our email transcriptions as well as the pictures and screenshots of me sending the products and the tracking numbers to them. Another step further, when I had a showroom in Los Angeles, any people that would take credit cards in store, I would definitely make sure I had a recording from my security camera of them on their file. So they would come in, pay by credit card, and I would take that timestamp and add it to their file. Meaning from my cloud cam on Amazon, if they came in at 3:33 p.m. and stayed till 3:36, I would have them on video in the store making that credit card purchase and transaction to make sure that I was secure and covered on all ends. Storing phone numbers and email addresses. This is actually a huge key factor in your business that you're going to want to start doing right away. So on social media platforms, when you're reaching out to people and talking to them and discussing things, you always have a good way to catch a lead and to find a source. However, that is not something that's there forever. That's not something that most people or many people keep accounts with and check on forever. You're going to want to have their email addresses and phone numbers. In the beginning, as I said before, I used to write these numbers and names down. Even at trade shows, I would take a pen and a paper and let them write it. Now I have systems. I have spreadsheets involved that have all my client data and segmented into where they came from, meaning which show they came from, which they came from Instagram, whether they came from the website, and so on and so forth. Later on, this is going to be invaluable to you because you're going to be able to plug this data into different software such as MailChimp and your CRM software and the back end of your websites to start accumulating data on your clients and start knowing who you need to reach out to when you need to reach out to them. This information, especially for clients that are interested in your business, is going to come in valuable later on as you keep growing and as you need to make lookalike audiences, meaning you need to make audiences that look like people who actually like buying your things and who like you and your business. The internet these days can do so many things, and lookalike audiences for retargeting and marketing online are amazing tools that all of us business owners have at our dispense. So make sure you start your email list, make sure you start your phone list and your client list immediately from day one. You should even have a splash page or a landing page or some kind of direction for people online to be able to leave their email address and their information so you can start accumulating this data. There's tons of good videos out there on YouTube. We'll probably drop a few links in our literature for this course on ways you can start building mail lists. MailChimp actually offers a free feature in the beginning for up to, I believe, 1,000 contacts that you can start storing data information on, and you can start marketing these people right away. So to reiterate and to make it all short, start right now. Track your clients,
track their information, make it a business, and go a step further if you want to and make a folder on their laptop for them and start storing pictures, data, any kind of information they send to you in there for them. This is not to be a hoarder and to be a stalker. This is to better serve your clients and know what they need before they even ask. Tracking your sales. In the very beginning, I did what I knew how to do, which is paper and pencil. I would write down on a sheet 1 through 10, 1 through whatever, details about my clients and each sale that I made. I would write down their names, their phone numbers, their email addresses, any kind of business information they had, any kind of quick funny notes that might help me remember them, the lead source, where they came from, how I found them, among other things. As I developed slowly, I started using G-Sheets or a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet to enter the same data. Now, this far later, I have data built up from 4 years on each and every single sale I've ever had with the phone number, email address, and everything directly from my clients. Now, this list is called like an ace in the spade pocket list. This list has clients that are interested in my company, that have taken that interest a step forward and actually purchased with me. And I'll always keep these leads in this list very close to my heart. It's very, very important to start tracking your sales and all your data immediately. In business, especially in the business world we live in these days, data and analysis comes down to almost everything. In the marketing world, A and B testing, if you've heard of it before, is one of the most sought after features and what people want to do, because they want to test different ads and see what is available and see who's biting on what in the marketplace. So always make sure you keep that in mind moving forward. Track your sales and track everything else as well. If you don't know how to do this right now, definitely drop us a message, definitely reach out to us, but keep this in mind. Don't overcomplicate it, make it simple. In the beginning, a paper and pen is fine. Eventually, you'll find the best systems to work for you, and it might even be a paid inventory software or a paid CRM type of system. I do recommend using Google Sheets in the very beginning. It's totally free. It's a good place to keep all your data on the cloud and share it with your team and access it from anywhere you'd like to. That's G-Sheets. Considering your revenue and your profit, you need to understand that there is a difference between the two. Revenue is the amount of sales that you're doing, how much money is actually coming in. Profit is how much you're actually making from that sale, minusing how much that good costs and minusing your operating costs that are built into it as well. So they're definitely two separate things. The banks, the government, everyone's going to want to see those numbers separately as well. So make sure you start tracking both things accordingly right away. One of the biggest reasons you're going to want to start tracking this stuff in the very beginning is, as I said before, data and analysis. You're going to start to recognize pattern in your sales data as well as your inventory data. You're going to see more and more volume increasing in certain areas for certain products. And when you have a spreadsheet and a system, this stuff is very, very easy to see. And you as the business owner, which is your main responsibility to make big key making decision factors, is going to come down to how well you have your data organized and your ability to analyze. Storing data, one of the most important things you need to start doing right away, right now, is taking content and documenting everything from where you're looking for your hair to this process, watching this class right now, how your room is set up, where your coffee mug is, how your door is locked and you're quiet in there at your parents' house in a back room with your brother and sister screaming crazily everywhere else. It's all part of the journey. It's all beautiful. It's all magic. And it all really relates directly to your brand and how personal you're going to make it. Whether you're going personal or not, I'm telling you, looking back on these videos and documenting your journey is invaluable information to yourself, to your clients, as well as to your future self when you do more businesses and looking into reevaluating how you did things. So two big reasons for documenting your journey are, one, the ability to experience and reflect back on all the experiences that you had, and two, to use that content to actually market in the future and create what's called micro content. Gary Vaynerchuk, who I follow quite frequently and a lot of my clients follow as well, says to create content all the time. You never know how much you can cut it up, break it down, and use that as micro content for different platforms. Now, in the experience sense, for me personally, I started documenting my journey out of fun. When I first started the company, and actually me as a kid, I've always had a video camera. When I did parties, when I did talent management, I would always document everything, and mostly just for fun because it was cool to see and it was cool to share that. Nowadays, the value of that is just ridiculous. Now looking back into my experiences, I can see when I was in India, what I was thinking, the things I was saying, the way I looked, the way the weather was. I can actually swipe up because these amazing technology we have these days and look at exact locations from where I took the photos and see metadata on them and share that online to the world eventually if I ever wanted to. I used to also record myself and talk to myself, honestly, because I had no one else to talk to, so I'd talk to myself. And now looking back at those videos, seeing my state of mind of the way I was approaching problems, I've learned so much and been able to better handle clients, to better see when problems are going to arise, and to see the patterns that my business and my life coincide with and take. So it's really super important, introspection and reflection on the past. And documenting your journey is an amazing way to look back. Imagine if we had
every single video of Amazon and eBay and Uber from the very first days when the kid got out of college, when Bezos or any of these guys were kids and they were just starting and developing these plans and talking about it with their friends. Imagine how valuable that information would be to see and to look into the minds real time of these people and what they were doing. That's the idea you want to have going forward. You want to keep that picture and that dream and that goal big and huge. I've always kept Hair Maiden India as being the top of the hair world, as being a company and an entity that could involve and incorporate many different aspects from HR to legal to accounting, to where I could call my brother who is a doctor and say, hey man, we need some help on our science team and department for our medical patients coming in losing hair from alopecia, among other things. I want it to be that big, and that is always the picture I suggest you to keep in mind. When you keep that in mind moving forward, you'll be able to understand these small concepts and actually tie them in together to make the best for your business. So, how do you handle this money? Incoming, outgoing, expenses, income. I'm going to talk to you about how to properly do accounting for your small business. There's a bunch of little small things, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. I'm going to give it to you, y'all, very, very simply. There's about a list of 10 or 12 things that I've kind of established that are very important. The first one, obviously, is opening a bank account. You want to have a separate account for your personal and your businesses. Then you want to be tracking your expenses, meaning if you spent $10 on a domain name, or you spent $35 on hosting, or you spent $150 on accessories for your store, or even $1,500 in rent for your new brick and mortar location, you're going to want to track these in a good system. For me personally, I was using Google Sheets for quite a while. I also use QuickBooks, which is by Intuit, a software they have to help track income and expenses. It's a very expensive but also very, very good software to use. However, if you want to save money, a simple spreadsheet tracking your income and tracking your expenses is very helpful. If you have employees, you need to set up your payroll taxes and your payroll systems, and you also need to investigate how much tax you're going to be paying on imports. Now, y'all, we deal with products-based businesses, so we are dealing with customs in America as well as customs in other countries, and we will have fees associated with importing and exporting these items. Every country and every place and every order will be different, so you need to make sure you're well-researched and well-versed in understanding on how it works from different country to different country. On your accounting basis, you need to also understand how you are going to pay yourself, how you will get paid, either through distributions, which are payments to yourself through your company, or as setting yourself up as a corporation, as an S Corp, and actually paying yourself as an employee of the company. You need to set up sales tax procedures. You need to determine your tax obligations yearly, which means you have to have a budget and a plan in mind. If you plan on making $150,000 in profit per year, you better have that money put aside to pay the IRS and to pay the man when the time comes. Otherwise, you'll be looking like Wesley Snipes getting chased around. Anyway, so after that, you're going to want to do a couple other things with your accounting, which I'm going to get more and more in detail to in the next few videos. The basics of accounting is this: income and expenses. Make sure you're tracking everything. Be meticulous with it, especially in the beginning, and I promise you'll thank me later. Moving into actually tracking your expenses. But first, why do I need to track them anyway? Many, many reasons. First, you'll be shooting yourself in the foot and not taking out the deductions that you could take at the end of the year for your taxes. Meaning, instead of taking a deduction out and not paying extra taxes, you will be giving that extra money directly to the federal government, and you also had expenses come in that you won't be deducting from your business. You're losing both ways. Expenses need to be tracked meticulously with receipts, with pictures, with dates, with the exact dollar amount, and what exactly you're categorizing them into. For instance, Facebook, Instagram marketing will go under my marketing tab. Paying for my phone line and my rent and my mortgage will go under my building and office expenses, and so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, tracking your expenses is key to business and is the only way to move forward legitimately and properly secure funding and make new businesses as well as new models in the future. Please, please, please start tracking your expenses yesterday. Even if you haven't already started and you paid for a class or a video or even a phone bill or possibly gas to go to a meeting at Starbucks to find a vendor and meet with them, this is all an expense that will allow you to take deductions and save you money come tax time. Track those expenses, y'all. Tips on tracking your expenses. Many people fail to realize this, and many people are scared about getting in that gray area. Let me tell you this, as a sole proprietor, as a freelancer, as a business owner, there is no gray area. You can expense almost everything. There are certain guidelines that an accountant can get really in depth with you as far as what percent of your total expenses you're allowed to allocate. For instance, if I spent $50,000 on entertainment and marketing to my clients, there might be a certain percentage of that I'm actually allowed to deduct and a certain percentage that I'm not allowed to deduct. This is why it's so key and so important for you to track every single expense you have, and then at tax time, either review that with a friend or an accountant or a third party that can help you in some way figure out what deductions you need to take to make sure you're saving yourself money. Now, when it comes to saving yourself money, you're also saving your business. Your business needs to be cash friendly. It needs to be able to have liquidity and move cash around in order to continue to operate. And that's one of the things it's going to do for you. A spreadsheet helps a lot. And these days, y'all, if you have a couple bucks and visit the App Store or the iOS store or the Android store, there are tons and tons of good applications out there to take pictures and track each and every one of your expenses, both in business and personal life. We'll include a few of those links in the comments in the literature section of your course as well that you can check out. And I highly, highly recommend everyone get on this right away. It's even a good habit to get in for your personal expenses, so you know exactly what you're budgeting, exactly what you're doing, and exactly what kind of moves your money is actually making. Setting up your business bank account. First of all, you guys, y'all, we are professionals, we are business owners, and we're bringing this to the table in every meeting we do. When it comes to your bank, nothing is different. You're going to find a bank that you want to use, you're going to set an appointment there, and you're going to go meet with the representative of the bank to open up your new business account. You need to have many, many questions for them ready for them to answer. One of them is you need to check with each individual bank and make sure you need to know which documents you need to bring, such as your LLC, articles of incorporation, your ID, your tax documents from personal use. Anything like that, the bank that you're going to will be able to tell you which ones you need to bring. You also need to make sure that you don't need to be registered in your state or your province in order to open this bank account. Now, if you're looking to open this account in your business name, you will also need to have your EIN documents available in there. Once you have your EIN number and you're coming into the bank, it's going to be very simple. You're going to sit down with the banker. She's going to open the account and ask very simple questions of you as far as what you're selling, how your business is structured, and what you plan to do. You need to have a little bit of money to bring into the account as well. This is a really good pro tip right here, y'all. When you're setting up your business bank account, you want to make sure you're taking advantage of any offers that they're offering you for that business checking account. I personally use Bank of America. They have two options, one a basic checking account and one a business plus checking account. The levels are different. For the first one, you need to maintain an average of somewhere around $3,000 a month, and you get no checking account fees. In the later tier, you need to keep more money in your account, and you get no checking fees and no fees for the account, as well as a couple other cool features. Make sure you research your bank and find out the best offers for you, and minimize your fees on any account that you can. A lot of these accounts have direct deposit rules or minimum monthly rules that if you meet them, you're going to have a no-fee bank account. The biggest reason you want to get this bank account started ASAP is to separate your business and personal funds. It'll make life easier come tax time and help you with funding as well as budgeting and planning for your business. So very, very simple, y'all. Make an appointment at a bank you research, call them to bring the correct documentation with you, bring all that there with you, sign up for your account, get it funded, and you're a business bank owner. How do I get paid? Where's my profit, and how do I pay myself? This is a very good and very tough question. There's so many different options and opportunities and paths you can take. For me personally, in the beginning, I had a rule. I was going to teach tennis and make income on the side while basically running my business dry bones, going expense to expense, profit to profit, not really making anything in order to get my name out there. This is not a must, and it's actually not the most comfortable way to do it. Trust me, I had tons of time where I was wondering what I was going to do next, or how I was going to make life work, or how I was going to support my family. However, paying yourself is still very important. It really depends on a lot of factors. One, your budget. Two, your goals. Three, if you have any other side income coming in, or if this is going to be the way you make your money for your livelihood and your family. When you're structured as an LLC, sole proprietorship, and not as an S Corp, you're going to be paying yourself through distributions from the company. So imagine like you spent $10,000 in inventory, you spent $5,000 on extra marketing expenses and keeping your business alive. That's $15,000 you put in. Now that $10,000 of inventory you sold, you doubled up for $20,000. You have $20,000 minus your $5,000 for expenses. That leaves you with $5,000 in your pocket worth of profit. Now from there, what I most strongly suggest is reinvest. I suggest reinvesting somewhere upwards of 75 to 85% of your funds right back in your business. That leaves you with about 10 or 15% to pay yourself off of, and that's where you're going to pay yourself. I do recommend tracking it very heavily, very meticulously, just as all your income and expenses, and letting it know to your accountant or to whoever does your books, if you do them yourself, that you're paying yourself as an employee of the company or as a subcontractor of the company. You want to keep these very, very distinguished, very separate, and this is a very, very touchy topic for many people. So when you're looking for advice, make sure you find people that are very closely aligned with your goals, your budget, and your story. Once again, for me personally, I still do not pay myself very much at all from my business. However, my business, when I'm moving on the road, allows me to live my life and travel and to continue my business in the way I've structured it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the key to structuring and making your life revolve around your business and your business revolve around your life. The two become symbiotic, and you learn how to live in a business and life sense very, very fluidly in both. How much do you need to save for taxes and how do you need to structure your payments? This is a very good question for an accountant, but many small business owners can answer it pretty easily as well because we have to deal with it also. So John Hewitt, founder of Liberty Tax Services, actually recommends keeping between 30 and 40% of what you earn from your business income aside to pay both state and federal taxes. Now, once again, this will differ greatly depending on how much you earn, what your actual expenses, and what your actual business is. However, just so you know, that is a general rule of thumb to cover for your taxes. Now, you can talk with your accountant or you can use your software to set it up for you to where you're going to pay that tax off in quarterly amounts, so you don't get hit with one big amount at the end of the year. Many companies and many softwares can do this for you, and what they do is they base it on what you did the year before that. So they're going to make some kind of an outline type of budget of what you should have ready for taxes. If you go above or below that, you can either do the numbers yourself or speak with them and restructure your tax quarterly payments. There's many ways to do this. However, do not forget to do this, y'all, especially when you start making money. It's going to be very important, and it's really, really time saving and headache saving if you do it before you get to that point. My story was I didn't do it until I needed to, scrambled to do it, paid extra, lost a lot of sleep over it, but yes, I'm still here and I got it all under control eventually. And that's why I say, y'all, there's so many ways to do things. The point of this course, the point of these talks, and the point of me sharing this with you all, and when I had no one to learn it from myself, is to kind of shorten that timeline a little bit. To learn from people that have made mistakes before you, right in front of you, learn from that and be able to not make those mistakes so you can get from point A to point B faster. There are no shortcuts from A to B, but you can decrease that timeline by taking in this information as valuable and then implementing it into your business, into your strategies, into your life. Should you hire an accountant? It's a really good question, and basically there's a couple of different ways to approach it and view it. First of all, would you need an accountant for your tax purposes or for your bookkeeping, or both? For tax time, you're going to need to keep track of your expenses, as I spoke about, and your income, as I spoke about. If you're doing it like that, it's going to be pretty easy to go ahead and do everything yourself, even tax-wise. You might just need a little bit of help from an accountant. However, for hiring a full accountant or a full accounting team, such as Bench and a couple other companies that do it online for you, where they'll be doing your bookkeeping, you want to have a lot of daily transactions going on in your bank account. Meaning you want to have over a couple hundred transactions per month with a wide array of categories, meaning marketing, office expenses, hosting expenses, client expenses, etc., etc. There's all type of categories, and they're all taxed differently, and there's all different amounts you can actually deduct from them. So when hiring an accountant, you really need to be at a stage where you're doing so much traffic and so many expenses and income that you'd actually need somebody to help you with it. A lot of people say, hey, I don't know anything, let me hire somebody at first. This is a basic business principle of mine. Always, always, always learn how to do something, at the very least basically, before you hire out someone else to do it. That means for your accounting, as we spoke about, you want to start tracking your expenses and your income, and you want to categorize all that as well. That's the basics of what your accountant will do for you. Come tax time, there's forms such as 1099, Schedule C, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. So much stuff to do. At that point in time, I do actually recommend hiring, at the very least, someone to assist you in preparing your taxes yourself. Usually you can find someone like that for a couple $100 to make sure you're doing things right and to ask any questions you have after reviewing the forms yourself. In my personal opinion, after 7 years of running Hair Maiden India, I am only now deciding on hiring some form of a bookkeeping accountant due to the level of transactions and due to me being so busy doing so many other things, such as being here with you guys in this amazing course. So, quick answer for do you hire an accountant? Only if and when learned and needed. Thanks, y'all. Dealing with issues in your business and dealing with issues in your hair business. Sorry to say this, but issues will arise no matter what it is you do, no matter how much you vet your vendors, no matter how much attention and detail you pay into getting every single thing perfect. Issues will arise. What makes the key difference between a long-term, great businessman and someone out there making a little bit of money
looking for the next thing is how well you handle and adapt to those issues. I'm probably the perfect example because I have made almost every mistake you could possibly make, not only in this industry, but in my past as well. As each issue arose for Hair Maiden India and myself personally, I literally just had to battle it out face to face with each one. Every single time, honestly, I thought that I might not be able to overcome it and that this is such a huge problem. Now, as soon as I tackled that problem, faced it head on, whether it was dealing with a client or a bad vendor or just something in the marketplace that was going wrong, I dealt with it and I learned from it and I grew from it. Now, how to make sure that some of these small issues don't destroy you. The biggest thing that destroys people when it comes to these small issues is ignoring them or brushing them off to the side. You never want to do that. You want to handle each issue, whether it be with a client or anything else, head on, face it, speak about it, and then learn from it. As a business owner, you have to be accountable and responsible for your business, your actions, and anybody that works with you, you have to be responsible for them as well. And you're going to take that accountability on your shoulders and take it very, very lovingly. Don't feel bad and get down on yourself every time it happens. I did the same thing to myself, and trust me, it's a waste of time stressing out that much because things will happen, and as a business owner, you are required to be able to deal with them properly, and you will develop that skill as time goes on. So each problem and issue that arises, make sure you're facing it head on. Now, back to what probably could or might happen in the hair industry are many things. The first thing, obviously, is bad hair quality. Now, we're not going to sell bad hair quality on purpose. Most people aren't. They're going to do enough research, especially for taking this class. You want to make sure you're offering a good quality product to your customer. And I applaud you for that because so many people don't. However, even if you have, like I said, the best vendor, the best hair, there will still be problems. Now, can you say that's a problem from the client or a manufacturer solution to how to tell the difference? This takes time. You have to learn how to understand your clients and understand when they're possibly playing a game or when it's actually just a manufacturing issue going wrong with the hair, or if they mistreated it. Every single case needs to be dealt with individually and differently. That's why customer service in hair is so key, and that's why companies excel so far when they provide good service within the hair industry, because it is much needed in an industry that is unregulated and products are from human sources. So, another issues that arise in hair are chargebacks and disputes and refunds. That I will go much more in detail in the actual course talking about that in specific. However, other things that might happen are disputes or fights between your clients and bad reviews. How to handle a bad review. This should be a video on its own as well. However, I'm going to dive into it just for a quick second now. First of all, once again, do not ignore it. Secondly, you're going to want to reach out to that client directly as soon as possible and as calm as you possibly can. Now me, as I've told you before, if you've heard my story, I used to get super upset about this. I would literally be in the bathroom with tears in my eyes, not knowing what to do, stressing out that my business is going to be done forever because one lady is mad at me. At the end of the day, we cannot please everybody, and we try our best too. However, when you have issues with certain clients that want to make bad reviews, you simply make a neutral message and you say, we're so sorry for this. We do not have this in our hearts. This is not what our intentions are or were. We would love to help you, work with you, and fix it, and we do that for our clients. And then actually work with them and fix it. I've done this for many clients. I've had many reviews from a 1-star reversed to a 5-star after I just spoke and spent a little bit extra time with the client and found out what they needed and what they wanted and what was going wrong. That is one huge thing people misstep on in all their businesses, and one thing that I made many mistakes on in the beginning as well. Now I know much better, and I've learned and grown from those mistakes in the past. I encourage you to learn from my mistakes and not have to make those with clients, because everything in business can stop you and can grow you. Most things aren't going to be a done factor if you make one decision. However, after you make these decisions over time, you get a snowball effect of that kind of energy leading downwards. You don't want to go on that slippery slope. You want to stay real, 100% face-to-face, head-on, accountable with your clients, and handle any issues as they arise. The amount of issues that can arise when doing business are unlimited, from coronavirus to shutdowns in government to whatever might happen in the world. They will affect your business and the flow of things. The biggest thing and the most important thing is prepare for that, plan for it, know it's coming, and know how to weather the storm. Know how to roll with the punches. Know how to be adaptable. This is not something that you can totally train and coach you on. This is something that takes time, and it takes a knowing within you that this will come, the times will come, and I will be prepared for it, and I will handle it, and we will shift as we need to. How to deal with these tough clients.
So as I spoke about in my how to deal with the exchange and return video, this is pretty similar. You want to be a professional presence, yet you also want to stand up for yourself and understand and know the line that's drawn when it comes to business that you really don't need or want, or there's not aligned with your company or your heart or which direction you're heading. If someone's calling at you, cursing you, and mad, I would generally say stop the conversation, figure out if there's anything you can do to kind of soothe the pain a little bit and break the ties easier, go ahead and do so. But do not spend energy, time, tears, and pulling hair out over these people. They will come and go and they will always be there. If you are doing good business and you are standing up and you are doing it with love and compassion and being available for your clients, this is going to be a very, very small thing that happens very, very infrequently. So the best preventative measure in dealing with clients is always, it starts with you and within you. Making sure yourself, your business, your systems, your mind, your heart are all taken care of and ready to go out there into the marketplace and deal with all kinds of clients, all kinds of customers, and be able to navigate your way through that and eventually rise to success in each and every area that you want. How to deal with fraud in your business. Unfortunately, these days, with the advancement of technology and everything else, there's been a huge market for fraudsters and scammers. I've dealt with these people individually, face to face, as well as online myself for the last 6 years. Fraud can be construed in many different ways. All the way from in-person fraud. I can tell you a personal experience of mine working with a store I came to LA for in the beginning, not knowing anybody else or anything in the city and being basically homeless trying to make my way around. I trusted a business owner prematurely and found out firsthand how many fraudulent acts can be committed directly for other people as well as to myself. Everything from falsifying documents, records as far as earnings, everything from bait and switch clients from the hair right in front of their faces, all the way up to securing a purchase loan for a vehicle in someone else's name. Fraud is crazy and it's everywhere. How do you protect yourself from it? So there's many different applications and softwares on the market these days that actually help protect your identity and your information from fraudsters and scammers out there. We can put some links to some highly verified ones in our literature. However, you're going to want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and you're watching all your stock, all your accounts, and all your credit factors. Basically, that means you want to have accounts with, say, creditkarma.com, and you want to have apps for your banks to know when transactions are made. I woke up one morning with an $800,000 fraud on my account when I didn't even have $8,000. I didn't even have $800 at that point in time. So you can imagine it was quite a shock. What had happened was I was giving out my banking account checking routing numbers to individuals looking to purchase hair. A lot of these people that reached out to me, little did I know at that time, were fraud individuals or businesses looking only to fraud companies and to take money from them. One of these companies got my information and was able to do that. I obviously was not liable for the money. My bank protected me, reversed everything, and put the money that I had originally back in my account. However, it was definitely a scary time, and I had to change all my credit cards, all my bank accounts, and restart basically everything. So you want to prevent against this by keeping your data secure and safe. Using technology out there to the best of your advantage as far as apps, as far as alert services and notifications when your identity or your credit factors have changed at all. To take that a step further in business, once again, I have to reiterate, be meticulous with your data and your records. Keep them on all your clients and all your business interactions and encounters, and you'll definitely be setting yourself up for success. How to prevent against refunds in your business. Refunds are huge, they are important, and they can cripple a business if they're not dealt with properly. So, first of all, the best way to start preventative measures against refunds is making an offer, taking pictures, and showing your client the exact product you're giving them. You don't want to play any bait and switch games when you're running a long-term business because you're going to put your reputation in jeopardy. Now, if you have a side hustle thing going along, do you? There's plenty of ways to do it out there. I'm speaking about a legitimate, credible, stand-up business. You need to make sure that you're offering the same thing that you're actually selling, first of all. Second of all, you want to definitely develop a direct communication with your clients, whether that's through email, text message, phone number, or if someone on your team needs to reach out, you need to go ahead and establish that line and make sure your client knows that they have a clear line of communication or an area to go to resolve any kind of issues that they might arise when doing business with you. I've found that if you respond to issues fastest and put them in priority, you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble moving down the road. So, saying all that, refunds are some things that are inevitably going to happen. We're going to actually talk about what to do for the refund process in the next video. However, right now, just to remind you, to prevent against the refunds, make sure you're selling the same thing you're offering. Make sure you have a direct line of communication open with your client, and they have the ability to reach out to a support team when they or if they have any kind of issue with you at all. This is a preventative measure to stop refunds and maybe initiate them into an exchange or possibly an upsell before they ever start. So this is one way in business where you can take a potentially seemingly bad thing and actually turn it into an upsell and a more valuable product, which in turn gives a better experience to not only your client, but to your business and to your team as well. Chargebacks. What is a chargeback and what does it mean to your business? So first of all, a chargeback is basically a payment dispute where your client or the person that was making the transaction reaches out to their credit card provider and says, hey, this transaction was either fraudulent, I didn't want it, or the goods weren't up to my service. When the chargeback gets initiated, the credit card provider reaches out to the retailer and demands that you as the retailer, the person selling the products, makes good on the loss and figures out what's going on and takes care of it. Now, most people in chargebacks, the companies are going to require your client, to reach out to you first. However, many times clients don't do that. Honestly, that's usually a red flag when they don't reach out to you first and let you know something's going on. That usually means instead of just a normal dispute or an issue with not receiving a product, you have somewhat of a more heavier matter to deal with. Not sure what your client is doing or what the problem is. A lot of times people get chargebacks, don't even get their product back. Now, a lot of people ask, can you go to jail for a chargeback and how much does it cost? Yes, you can be brought to court and possibly spend some jail time, if not some heavy fees, for certain types of instances of chargebacks, depending on what your level of liability is and depending on what you actually did, if there was fraud involved or not. Generally speaking, chargebacks are going to be between $15 and $50. However, in a high-risk merchant category, which many times hair vendors are, you're going to be charged significantly more than that. So, chargebacks are important, and we're going to get into discussing how to prevent them shortly. How do you as a business owner prevent chargebacks or disputes on your company? So there's a couple different ways to approach this. First of all is the in-store method, in-person method. Many times when you're having chargebacks, you're not going to see as many in-store, in-person payment methods. This is because not only does the client meet you directly as a business owner and feels less, likely to go ahead and charge back or make any kind of ill will towards you, there's also more security in being present with a credit card or a debit card, inserting it to a machine and putting a debit card transaction in. I did go over this in my payment processing methods video, stating that if you do use chip readers and you ask people to use their debit card with PIN entry, you're going to highly reduce your risk of fraud and chargebacks. Now, moving into the online game. Online chargebacks are notorious and huge, which is why there's so many different percentages and rates within the market for charging payments and providers. The more risky the transaction, the higher the percentage is going to be. The less risky the transaction, the lower the percentage is going to be. This is why you see a debit card with PIN entry inserted with a chip having the lowest rates versus someone online typing in their credit card information. So there's a couple things you want to do to prevent and protect yourself against possible chargebacks with your business. First of all, as I've gone over many times, is be meticulous with your data. If a client buys from you, have all their information on hand, billing address, shipping address, all your transcripts and communication back and forth with that client, and any pictures you might have as well. You want to have all their information, their legal government names, and all that information on file as well. Now, when you have really large transactions, sometimes you want to take an extra step and verify your client a little further. Now, there's an art to doing this because you don't want to make your client feel like you don't trust them or there's something wrong. You basically need to state, hey, this is a company policy for transactions in this amount. In order to protect you and to protect ourselves as a business, we need to have this information on file. Moving forward, you can tell your client that they will not need to provide this information and it'll all flow nice and smoothly. So first of all, you want to keep your data and your records meticulously filed away for at the very least 2 years to prevent against and protect against chargebacks. Secondly, online, you want to have your back-end systems and processing set up very precisely, meaning you want to have your AVS, which is your address verification system, filters on. You want to have your CVV, which is your credit card security code, filters on, and you want to have your billing and shipping addresses matching. Now with Authorize.net, Stripe, and a few more platforms, I know how to do this exactly myself. However, most companies do provide some type of protection like this. It, however, is up to you to go ahead and go into your back end of those payment systems and enabled those features. So those are two major ways to prevent chargebacks, frauds, and even disputes, is keeping your data meticulously organized and available on hand, as well as making sure the back-end payment processing systems are secure and set up to detect fraud naturally as well. Scaling, you can either do it fast or you can do it slow. Many people are in a rush to scale fast. Many people want to take their time and build and grow slowly. At Hair Maiden India, we've taken the slow approach. We want every detailed cover. We want our customers to feel like they have a fresh, new experience in the hair industry, and we want them to know they're talking to real people. So it has taken us time to grow our systems and scale. Other people really want to take shortcuts. There's many ways to do this. You can either implement what's known as paying to scale, which you'd pay a lot of money out for marketing, for building systems to have experts from the outside come in and rebuild your systems in order to do that, or you take the time and grow slowly. What is better, what is worse? I do not have an answer for that, to be honest with you. Each business and each individual will have their own method, their own timeline, and their own way in which they scale, and on what things they do scale on. Some people might not even scale their volume or their customers. They might find a couple of celebrity clients and realize that they can value their products much higher, and boom, they increase their value by 50% of their products. They're making 50% more profit just like that. Others might take the slow approach, go to trade shows, stay in the market on a daily basis, make connections, and work with people that would be willing to work with them for years and years down the road. Therefore, growing their list, growing their scope of influence, and eventually becoming a powerhouse in a certain industry. So both sides actually can become a powerhouse. I truly believe within me that going the slower way is possibly better. I don't mean going the slowest way, and my way is pretty slow myself. Like I said, it took me 7 years to only get to where I am right now, which I'm still, in my mind, a baby in this world and learning so much every day. And that, as a quick tip, is one thing you need to keep in mind as you move forward. Always be a student. Even the best masters are always students. They're continuously learning. And that goes to say times 10 when you're running and creating a business on your own. So, if scaling is your goal, that means you're in the business for long term. That means you don't want just a quote unquote side hustle. You want a legitimate, certified, reputable business. What do you need to do? Literally everything I've talked about in this course. And you need to take every single thing I've talked about and take it a step further. And not only that, add your own personal twist onto it as well. If scaling is your goal, congratulations. You have learned business and you have understood that it takes hard work and it takes time and it takes effort. That does not mean you cannot sell it during this time and do multiple other things to increase your income and revenue streams in this time. It simply means that your goal, your big picture, is to get this operation that you have running at a 10x level from where you started it at. Good news, that's what we do at Hair Maiden India, and that's what I do personally. It is the most fun to take a business, start it from a baby, and slowly scale it beyond your wildest dreams. Trust me, the journey is magical. The end doesn't even matter. You just keep going scaling your business. So you've taken all the steps, you've gotten the system set up, you're making sales, your website's online, you're getting traffic, you're moving money through your business bank account, you're paying your taxes, you're restocking an inventory, you're reinvesting in your company. What are you going to do to scale? Scaling basically means taking the operation you have and 10xing it, multiplying it, getting either more volume of your sales or possibly increasing your pricing, or a factor or combination of both of those. What you need to do right now in order to start scaling. First of all, I'll have this link in the literature as well, but I recommend everybody out there to go read this book by David Flynn. It's called Further, Faster, and it talks specifically about scaling companies in a large sense, a multi-million-dollar sense, to get to the next level. When I first started reading this book in the beginning, I thought, this is way too big picture for me. I'm way too small of a company for this. But as I got into the bones of it, the meat and bones of it in the middle, I started realizing that everything that these bigger companies and bigger institutions are implementing can very well be kind of modified and introduced to a small business level as well. Mr. Flynn himself only deals with companies that are already in the multi-million-dollar sales level and looking to scale above beyond that. However, there's so many golden eggs you can find within his book. That's, once again, is David Flynn, Further, Faster. He's actually a buddy I met on LinkedIn while doing my own research, and we've had some discussions back and forth on LinkedIn. And he's also an asset I have now that if I'd have questions, he's offered me the opportunity to be able to reach out to him and talk to him. So quick rewind, always grow your network and be out there talking to people in the marketplace, because not only might you find a sale, you also might find a possible networking link and connection that'll teach you something or help you advance to the next level in your business. So back to what you need to do to scaling right now. In order to scale, you have to have systems in place. How did McDonald's scale, right? McDonald's is $1 million franchise because it has impeccable systems in place. All you have to do, pay for their franchise fee, and they're going to give you the system of the business. And then all you have to do is run that business from there. And that's how they made 1 million McDonald's on every corner, not in America, in the world. In India, in the village, literally 2 miles from my dad's farm, is a McDonald's that has vegan food and chicken options instead of beef. It's crazy, the ability and the power you have once you build a solid system. So right now, you need to be thinking big picture as an owner as well. Now imagine you doing this yourself, you pulling in leads, you putting it in your phone, you pulling sales on invoices, you managing your inventory and data, and you even running a showroom. Imagine that with 10 people making 10 times the money, doing 10 times the amount of sales with 10 times the amount of traffic. How are you going to handle that? One answer, it's your systems. And your systems will allow you to later on scale. If your systems are set in place, at the point when you bring other people, all you need to do is teach them how to use these systems that you've already enabled in order to scale your company. For me personally, that's been quite a tough journey because I started Hair Maiden India with one person who I no longer work with, and I ended up doing all of it alone. So I set up and created the business to revolve around my life. When it came to the point for me wanting to scale, I didn't actually need to make more money. I was very happy where I was, but I wasn't fulfilled because my goals personally were to have a community, a team that worked together towards common goals that also got paid for what they were doing. So when it comes into scaling my company, I had to relearn all my systems and processes, put them down on paper, and begin to teach them and implement them in a systematic formation to the rest of my company. Now, as we've been going on this for close to 6 months to a year now, we're slowly starting to see what those systems put together can do. And we're getting a roadmap of how it would look to hire 5, 10, 15, and more salespeople in the future, or even people working in the store in the future. So there's a lot you need to do to scale right now. Don't worry about it so much. As long as you're following all the steps we've taught you, all the small details, and organizing and creating all your systems, scaling is going to be simple as that. How do you know when to hire out for different processes in your company? How do you know when to delegate? In the very beginning, you're probably running on a bare bones type of budget, so you don't want to pay for things you can do yourself. That is a big rule of thumb for me in business. Don't pay for things in the beginning that you can easily do yourself. And not only easily do, you're actually creating the system and developing the habits that you need to pass on to the rest of your team moving forward. So, that being said, the biggest piece of advice I can personally give when it comes to hiring is hire out of necessity, not out of laziness especially. Hiring people and finding good people to work with you is tough. It's a process and it's a journey. For me, as I've said before, my goal in business was to create a community of like-minded people that I loved and knew that I could offer opportunities to, and that we could grow together along the same lines and direction. Taking this into account, it's understandable why I've had so much trouble with hiring in my team in the past and moving forward. I've always worked with friends and pretty close friends, and all kind of things popped up from past issues to even friends of mine who've seen me a certain way in my past life, wanting something different out of me now, or wanting the same thing with me as I was back then, which I've grown, evolved, and developed, and I no longer am those things. A lot of my business journey came down to cutting out a lot of those people in my life. So when to hire and what to hire for. Obviously, you're going to want to hire mainly for things that you don't have technical knowledge on, things that require such a large learning curve on that it would, take away from your business and your time to do. But I also recommend even those things such as, AdWords market implementation, or, keyword research analyzing, or making websites. Learn the basics, guys. Learn the regular basics. Try it yourself. Waste a couple of dollars on, signing up for trials or spending a little bit here and there, and understand the terminology and know what it is that you need to hire for. Once you really have an idea of what you need done and what you need to hire someone for, and you have that in a systematic, organized process, you're going to find that person very easy, and that relationship is going to work out much better. Now, also when it comes to hiring, you're going to want to make sure that you're going to be working with, and this is in my opinion type of thing, people that are aligned with you and aligned with your values and goals. This will stop a lot of issues in the future, and it'll keep your company and your momentum and your energy from your company rolling in that same direction that you started with and that you wanted. There's nothing that can bring a company down faster than a bad partner. I have tried to start maybe 6 or 7 companies in my younger ages when I've had one person or two people that wanted to start it with me. every single time. It never worked out. The only times I've actually got companies started, such as Aletheia Team LLC, such as Work Squad, such as Manali Tea, and Hair Maiden India, and Red Dot Imports, and even Rocky's Rentals, are when I put the efforts in myself. I did the company, I did the groundwork, I got things rolling and moving. I didn't actually start paying for help until I needed that help in those areas. And in the beginning, I wouldn't actually hire the help to do it. I would hire classes, I would take classes, I would pay paralegals and accountants for hours of their time to learn how to do things myself. Such as with QuickBooks, you can pay $50 to hire someone to implement your processes for you and show you how to do it with a video call. Or you can pay about the same amount to have somebody that knows this knowledge and data to kind of walk you through it and teach you it a little bit while you're actually doing it yourself. So that's a very, very valuable thing to do, is learning it yourself. When you're hiring people, you're going to need to. The whole goal of businesses to involve the community, to involve people, and to present and create opportunities to solve problems for others in the marketplace. So you need a team to do that eventually. In the beginning, work on yourself, work on the systems, and eventually you'll know exactly who you need to hire, exactly what you need to hire them for, and believe it or not, most likely those people will come to you when the time is right. You made it to the end of the class. Now, we went over a lot of information, a lot of material. I gave you a lot of key steps to take and get action right away. It is now up to you to actually implement this stuff and do it. Remember, all these tiny steps, all these little baby steps you're taking, everything from this class to making a note in your notebook right now is essential and a great crucial part of the journey you're on. You're going to look back on these days and be able to do so much with it when you look into starting your next business, which if you're an entrepreneur and you're selling hair, I guarantee you that you'll learn to branch off, or you probably will branch off into something else while you continue your hair business as well. Once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being part of this class. Definitely keep in touch with us. Definitely follow us. We're here for you. We love, love, love working with people who care about their businesses, who want to create something with their life, and who possibly want to do it differently with a different background and story than everybody else these days in the market. Give us a call, email us, reach out to us on social media. We're here for y'all. Let's build something amazing together. So, now what? You finished the class, you have a bunch of tools and tips in your pocket, and you're ready to get started in business. Things you need to start doing right away are preparing your budgets, right? You need to know what you're going to be able to allocate towards marketing, for your inventory expenses. If you're having a store, you need to figure out your lease, your rent options. If you're having an online website, figure out domain, hosting options. Honestly, you should write all this stuff down on a pen and paper. This is going to be stuff you can look back on and take a picture of and scan up to a site if you want to. However, it works really good when you can look at it on paper and actually spread everything out and seeing what you're budgeting and allocating towards each thing for marketing, for other things like that as well. Definitely give yourself a chance to check out our other courses where we dive much, much deeper in details on all these topics. And if you're ready to get started, go ahead and sign up for our Ultimate Business Masterclass. That way, we can actually take a personalized approach into your business, consult with you, and take action steps into personalizing your business and making and creating the life-business balance that you want.